Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Expatriate Memories. My name is Lance Prince, and I am delighted to be your host, and for this opportunity to extend a sincere invitation to you, wherever you may be across the Caribbean diaspora, in the UK, Europe, Africa, Caribbean, or the Americas. This is where you can, for the foreseeable future, come and share stories about the immigration experience, whether as a principal or pioneer or someone close to them, or who has in any meaningful way been impacted by the migration of family and associates. Over the past century, our diaspora, spearheaded by the agoracy of 1700 plus pioneering migrants from Jamaica and other Caribbean colonies, who in June 1945 were carried by HMT Empire Windrush to England, has been a melting pot of diverse experiences, various cultures, of new arrivals, and relationship with host communities. What we call the Windrush generation extends from that spectacular arrival at the Tilbury Dock to the passing of the British National Day Act of 1971. Within the memories of those individual experiences, we shall, as we expand our participation, recognize that there are unique qualities in each personal story, and that every single one of us contribute equally to the overall distinctive character of the diaspora. It would be really good if great-grandparents, parents, their children, and grandparents would take this opportunity to share such memories, and by so doing, enrich our knowledge and understanding of the immigrant's journey, how we adapted to life in the adopted country, and how we have always looked back with a bit of nostalgia, but with great care and concern for those that for multiple reasons were initially left behind. We're hoping that the series will be enjoyed by as many of the millions included in diaspora as possible. But success depends on two factors. The first is that we must be truly inclusive in the way we operate. Second, we have to commit ourselves to active participation, in particular, a willingness to mutually share our memories through this platform. Our model is definitely not a school concert scenario with a passive audience entertained by a couple of performers. For this project to be successful, all of us who hear the call must commit to sharing the memory of our experiences. You can start right now by letting us know at expatriatememories@gmail.com of your desire to join in conversations touching on your immigration journey and the experiences that flow from that. Also, if as we settle into this new venture, you have any comments or suggestions that would improve the reach and tone of our product, we invite you to contact us by email. Thanks you so much for your continuing support and encouragement. Everyone to Expatriate Memories, I am Lance Prince. These are a series of conversations in which your Caribbean family and friends share stories of immigration to countries where their dreams for a prosperous and productive life seem possible. One of the most significant waves of immigration from the Caribbean is known as the Windrush generation. Her Majesty's troop ship, Empire Windrush, carried 1,027 passengers from Jamaica and arrived at Tilbury Dock on the 22nd of June 1948, 75 years ago. A letter 15 days later from Prime Minister Clement Attlee, the British Member of Parliament, said in part, "I note what you say, but I think it would be a great mistake to take this immigration to the UK too seriously. Too much publicity has been attached to the present agoracy of Jamaicans. The majority of them are honest workers who can make a genuine contribution to our labour difficulties at the present time. Its arrival has become a symbolic of the generation of Commonwealth Caribbean citizens who came to live in Britain between 1948 and the decade during which several former British colonies gained independence that ended with the passing of the new British Nationality Act in 1971. Today is Friday, March 4th, 2023, and I'm honored to be your host and to have the pleasant task of welcoming today's conversation my co-host and daughter, Arantxa Prince. Arantxa is at the University of Colorado Law School, having graduated from the prestigious New College of Florida in Sarasota, and it is no coincidence that the Windrush generation was the subject of her final college thesis. And now I invite Arantxa, my co-host, to explain her fascination with the patterns and permutations of immigration. She will introduce Miss Jean Foster Wood and her sister Joy Fannell, who, on the basis of their treasured memories, I am pleased to welcome today's conversation. Arantxa, you go ahead.
Thank you so much to my co-host for the introduction. My name is Arantxa, or as many know me as Renchi. I've always had a love for history, and I got to further explore that during my time at New College. And this fascination helped me produce my thesis, Off to the Mother Country, Community Cultural Wealth and the Construction of Empowered Motherhood by the Windrush Jamaican Transnational Mothers. During my research, I was really inspired by the way that these mothers found community in this completely new territory and used it to empower their families and pass down these traditions. With these conversations, we keep legacies alive and ensure that these histories will always be remembered. Our guests tonight is Jean Foster Wood and Joy Fannell, whose mother was a part of the Windrush generation, and they both grew up in the UK and visited Jamaica as young adults for the first time in 1988. Both sisters are my cousin and also my father's cousin, and we welcome them to Expatriate Memories Conversations to share their stories. To all who shall listen to our conversation, I extend a hearty welcome. And Auntie Joy and Auntie Jean, if you'd like to introduce yourself at this time, I'd be more than happy.
Okay, thank you, Lance and Arantxa. I'm Jean Foster Wood, and as it's been said, my mother was part of what's considered the Windrush generation, although I think she arrived in Britain in 1960, didn't she, Joy? Mm-hmm. And Joy and I grew up in England all our lives, and then Joy recently emigrated, and I've just emigrated to the States, so that's me.
Hi, this is Joy here. Thank you, Lance and Arantxa, for giving us this opportunity to share our thoughts and our memories with you. As my sister Jean just said, we were born and grew up in the UK, so that's what we knew as home. And we visited Jamaica several times, and now I've been in the US now for almost 12 years. And then my sister Jean, God bless her, has been here for 2 weeks.
Yeah, welcome. I'm thanking you both for doing this, and thank you, Arantxa, for helping me do this. So, and the first question I want to ask both of you is like, what year were you born in the UK? The year of your birth. And you can start first, Jean. And what city were you born in? Put it that way.
I'll let Joy go first because she's the oldest.
Yeah, let Joy go first. Sorry, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was born in 1961, and I was born at New Cross Hospital in Wolverhampton, and that's where we were born, and we grew up in that town. For those people who are not so familiar with the UK or England, Wolverhampton was a town, well, still is a town just outside of Birmingham, which is in the central part of the UK. Over to you, Miss Jean.
Okay, so I was born a year later. So I was born a year and 4 months after Joy. So I was born in July 1962 to my mum and dad, who, as we said, is both Windrush people. And again, I was also born at New Cross Hospital, which in those days was one of the main hospitals in the town of Wolverhampton where we grew up. The other thing I would say, which I think might be interesting, is that Wolverhampton is part of what they call the Black Country in the UK. And it's nothing to do with Black people. It was because it's part of the area where there was lots of mining and industry. So I think the environment itself used to be black from the industry and the coal and the smoke.
And not from the people.
So that's where we grew up. Huh?
Not from the people.
No, we were only a minority. We were only ever been a minority in England.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, at what age do you remember? What it was like growing up in the UK? And you go first. What was it like being? Did you realize you were different in the UK growing up? And put it that way.
All right. So what I'm finding exciting is actually sharing these memories, because Joy and I have never kind of done this. So it'd be interesting to see if we have quite different memories or some similar things. But one of the things I would say for me was I definitely knew I was different. For me, I remember being called the Jamaican kids. At school, being different to the majority white kids. So for me, what I did feel very different, not very different, but because when we were young, our parents, there was a Jamaican community. So most of my life outside of the formal British infrastructure, like school or going to the doctors or the hospital or anything like that, was just with Jamaican people. My mum's sisters, like your aunties as well, like Aunt Rose and Aunt Kathleen, we'd go to their house and see our Jamaican cousins, and everybody would chat patois and cook Jamaican food. So home and my social life was very much Jamaican. But anytime you stepped out of the house, it became the England, and going to school was definitely an English experience. The other thing I would say that was different, I know is definitely different for Joy, is I was quite a sick child with asthma. And so when I was 9 years old, I was sent off to a boarding school for what they call delicate children. That's because I was sick so often that I barely went to school. In that school, I say if there was 100 kids, I was about one of 3 black children. So I spent 2 years in a very, very English white environment. And I think my family noticed the impact of that on me when I got home. So I had quite an interesting childhood in that sense.
Yeah, we talk about that because it's
Yeah.
Yeah, but go ahead, Joy. Your first experience. What's your first memory? Your memory of your early days in the UK?
Well, mine is different from Jean because when I was much younger and going to school, I actually had, my best friend was a white girl. Her parents had the Jones, the last name was Jones. So Mr. and Mrs. Jones lived up the top of the road and they had a shop.
Mm-hmm.
And Gillian was my best friend, and we used to meet each other and go to school. I used to go up to the shop and play with her. And I think I was maybe one of only a couple of kids that was allowed to go in the back of the shop where they lived.
Mm.
And she had a brother called Richard, who was much older. But Mrs. Jones used to send Gillian to school with like toast or something for breakfast, and she'd do some for me. So at that, when I was that young age, to me, I didn't see any differences. I didn't feel any differences because the way that family treated me.
Mm-hmm.
It was like I was part of their family. And Gillian used to come down the road and play with us as well. Mm-hmm. And then as we got a bit older, what I remember as well, the street we lived on was called Bruford Road.
Yeah.
And it was truly multicultural because you had, well, not multicultural in too wide of a sense, because you had the Jamaican families, you had the white families, you had the Indian families. And as kids,
we all mixed.
Yeah. Or like during the summer break, all of us out on this street up here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only the old people that used to run us and say, why don't you go to the parks, or why don't you go up to your side of the street? But they were saying it to all the kids, and we were all of different races.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then again, I think maybe where it started to really show the difference is when we got to senior school, or would be high school.
Yeah.
Because when you think back on it, but even now, because then they said we did feisty because we used to answer back.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look back at it now, the way that we was treated to how white kids was treated was different.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Was definitely different.
Yeah. I,
Yeah,
I
go
would
ahead.
just add on that as well that Joy's right. Because I remember my best friend at school was white, and I had a best friend that was Indian. So when we were younger, you didn't really, you just mixed with whichever children worked for you. You didn't really kind of
Yeah. Mhm.
look at the race thing. I feel like it was more the institutions that treated
Yeah.
us
But
as
different, yeah.
different and as black
Mhm.
kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
And I guess
yeah, go ahead,
I had a
Ranchi.
quick question. I guess like how would you say like the institution treated y'all different? Did you feel like your punishments were like more harsher than like white students, or like your teachers would be a bit more like curt to you? I guess like what ways did you notice?
Well, one of the things I remember Arancha very distinctly was, you know, when it's coming up to that time where, you know, you're going to have to do your exams. For us, it was GCSEs and O levels at that
Yeah,
time.
that's the exam we did in
Mhm.
Jamaica too. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to pick your subjects now because this is supposed to help you to get to your career, what you want to do. And I
Mhm.
remember the teachers sitting, you know, you had to go to like a career meeting with a teacher. And like, no matter what you said as a black child at school, because I think I said to them I think I said I wanted to be a teacher. And he turned around and he said, oh, no, you can't be a teacher. You know, you just do this and you leave and you go and I can't even remember what he said, but he basically saying to me, no, you can't be a teacher. You're not good enough. You're not intelligent enough. You're not bright enough to go and be a teacher. Just do what you can. And a lot of black kids, it was like that. And there was also a remedial block. They called it a remedial block. And that was supposed to be in that, whatever year it was, that was the lowest grade in school. And it was full of black kids.
I agree with Joy about the kind of advice. I think for me that I had a very strong experience of that I've always remembered. I went to the careers for advice again around 15, 16, and I was told that you know, I should think about being a cleaner. And when I said to them, oh, I'm asthmatic, so I can't really do that, it was like, well, we don't know what to do with you then. And I've always told people that story because I've since then gone on to have master's degrees and work for the British government and represent the British government around the world. But they saw me as somebody that could be a cleaner. And the other thing I think, as well as the remedial block, caning was still something that happened at school when we were at school. And it always seemed to be the black boys outside waiting to be caned by the headmaster.
Around, you know what caning is?
No, I was just about to ask.
Explain that to her.
Oh, yeah. So there was, I don't know, what's that stick? So if you see old movies where kids go into the headmaster's office and they have a stick that they hit
It's
them
like
with.
a mug, a bamboo stick, Ranchi. Yeah. We had caning in Jamaica too, yeah. But
Actually, you know what it's like?
They were still allowed to hit kids then,
Because it's like a bamboo stick.
Yeah, it's a small bamboo stick, man. A bamboo stick, a tin bamboo stick. We got caned at Meadowbrook to Ranchi when I was going to school. But let me ask you something though, Gina and Joy. Did girls ever get caning?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Was that, what was her name again? There was, I can remember somebody that you used to know in your
Was
year.
it Leonora?
Leonora, yeah.
Leonora, I think she was the girl that got caned, and she was in the remedial block.
But you know, she got a degree later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she got a degree. She had I think she had was it a government job, maybe in the civil service. She had got a really good job in the end as well. And
and I must have a guess. She was black as well.
Yes, yeah. She was, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like, even though I never experienced racism I grew up, the institution was racist itself. Because I'm a pigeonhole in a certain corner if I say, boy, I can't do this and can't do that.
Yes.
Yeah, we were definitely seen in a particular way by teachers, I would say. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean all the teachers are like that. I had a Spanish teacher who thought I was wonderful. But even then, I remember her telling me not to go around with the black kids. They weren't the kids I should be going around with. Mm-hmm. So again, it's, you know, the overall view was negative. even though
Mhm.
they might have their odd favorite child that they might treat a bit better.
And before I ask this, I want to step back a little bit and just talk about your mom a little bit and your other sisters. How many other sisters you have on your family size growing up?
So in England, because we've got a sister we've got two sisters who grew up in Jamaica and a brother that grew up in Jamaica, and I suppose you know that a lot of the Windrush generation did leave kids behind. So we have that configuration for our family, and then in England there was Joy, me, Sonia, and Pet. But we also had a brother. Unfortunately, he died at 10. Who we all so it was 5 kids and a mum and dad in the house that we grew up with.
And did mommy and daddy talk about Jamaica early? Only hear about Jamaica early in the day?
Oh my God, yes.
We always knew about Jamaica. We always knew we had this
Other
sisters
siblings, yeah.
in Jamaica. Actually, mommy used to send me to the post office to send money, go gift to London.
And dad used to send money to his mum,
Yeah, but I had to walk to the post office.
Yeah,
the Western Union exists.
No.
No,
Yeah.
we had to send a postal order. It wasn't even a money order.
Yeah, postal order, yes.
Yes. Jamaica was spoken about all the time. It was considered to be home. And as I say, everybody who would come to the house was Jamaican. Reggae music was played. Jamaican food was cooked. So it felt like, I know you're going to come on to our visit to Jamaica, but I felt like I was Jamaican until I got to Jamaica.
I realized it was kind of different, eh?
Well, I realized I wasn't.
Yeah, we get to that.
Yeah.
We get to that. And Ranchi, you ask any question anytime you're ready. You know, don't let me monopolize the conversation. You go ahead and ask.
No, man, you're good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have anything right now. I guess kind of just like, I know you talked a lot about like reggae music and kind of just like Jamaican culture, like being in the house. I guess, do you have like any artists that you remember during that time, or just like any songs or like music that was just like, I don't know, really big in your childhood?
Sorry, I've got one I think is awful now. And I don't know who saw. Well, Ken Booth was a regular, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Ken Booth. Who else? Jimmy Cliff.
Oh, Jimmy Cliff, yeah.
Yeah. Of course, Bob Marley was later.
Oh, Jimmy Cliff was known before Bob Marley.
Yeah. Like I'm thinking the older ones, because my mum and dad used to go to blues as well. Do you remember, Joy?
Well, they never call it blues.
No,
they just call it party. But we knew what it was.
Yeah, we call it blues, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the kids would be given, be put in a room while all the adults were dancing and reggae music was playing. But I think there was constant reggae. There was constant reggae music. And you know what though? There was also a bit of country music, which I think is a Jamaican people thing in that time. There was some country and
Western music,
Yeah, exactly.
There was Jim Reeves.
Yeah.
There was Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were popular in Jamaica at the time. I had a Jim Reeves album.
So we did that. Yeah.
You couldn't go to a funeral without having to hear Jim Reeves.
Oh, that was the other thing that was very Jamaican. Nine Night and at the graveside, the singing. What them call it? I don't even remember what they call it.
You mean?
I don't know.
At the graveside?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
The way they sing. And also, I don't know if you've noticed, but we go in and out of what we consider to be patois in English.
Oh, yes, I'm going to come to that. I don't know that.
So that was part of it as well.
So, hold on. When you do that in England as well, you slip from patois to English?
Yes.
Okay.
Was it like, did you speak like patois in the home, and then just like when you're like out at school you spoke? Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but then when you didn't want the white people to understand what you were saying, you went into patois because they wouldn't understand it.
Yeah.
We still do that here. No worry, we still do that there. Yeah. So in the early days then, what was the food like? Was Jamaican food straight up, or did they get graduated to fish and chips, the English food?
But it was a mixture of both. That was it, you see. We had the best of both worlds.
Yes.
Because actually, like fish and chips was saved for a Friday because nobody cooked on a Friday. So you would go to the chip shop.
And Daddy got paid on a Friday.
Yeah, everybody got paid on a Friday. So that's the day that you would have like fish and chips or pie and chips or whatever you wanted from the fish and chip shop.
Yeah.
And then Saturday was soup.
Saturday soup.
Sunday was rice and peas and chicken. And then you'd have the leftovers on Monday. And I can't even remember what we ate.
And I like pig's tail, cow foot. I like tripe. All because of the Jamaican cooking my mum and dad did when we were little.
So, you know, I must not be Jamaican then, because none of the food I'm like, you know. No tripe, no oxtail, no stew peas.
I love stew peas. I even got mommy to do some for me since I've come to America.
I mean, the stew peas,
Yeah.
Right. But oxtail.
Oxtail, I love oxtail.
And all that something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when English people soon eat oxtail and them Jamaican food, them never turn up them nose.
They didn't see us though.
Oh,
but
that's
in the house.
I got you.
But having said that, it's now everybody. A lot of English people now like what do peppery one call again?
Jerk.
Jerk chicken.
No, jerk. They like jerk chicken.
Or jerk pork. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's become more popular, but not. It's not in England now. I'd say Chinese and Indian especially is very popular. But you know, you get some English people that will go into a Jamaican shop and get some Jamaican food. So
earlier I had mentioned that aunts, mostly aunts were, and how many aunts lived, cousins are now living in England at the same time? Everybody living in the same area or close enough?
Well, Aunt Charles lived in Wolverhampton, didn't she? So Aunt Charles and her 7 children grew up in the same town. So we would see them more regularly than Auntie Kathleen, where she was in Birmingham with her 4 children. So we wouldn't see them as regularly. But there was always a New Year's Eve party at our house.
Yes.
And cousins and aunties and uncles, and then extended friends, and my dad's side of the family would all come as well. So
well, you know what I want to call out your sisters them name and your cousins them name, if you remember them, because I want to big them up when I hear this. I'm not say I big them up. Call out them name. No. All
right. So who are we gonna start with?
Call your sister them first. The sisters them.
Oh, so Sonia, Lana, Bev, Roy, who's our brother, and then Sonia and Lorraine, or Pet, if you know her as a family member. So that's the siblings. And then we do Aunt Rose lot first. Dorrit, Colin, Mark, Jacqueline,
Derek,
Tracy, and Robert. And then we got the Spences, Pauline, Craig, Shirley, and Pam. But Pam's died.
I remember Pam had come to Jamaica, her mom.
Yes.
Yes, you're right.
In early 1970, 74, 75. Yeah. I remember.
Yeah.
That is long before they come. So yeah. No. So now the whole heap of cousins and that must like gonna have a football team and could make up with cousins, everybody.
Yeah, and now oh my God, there's so many of us there now because everybody have kids and grandkids now.
Everybody have the generation in England, I know. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's a strong family now. There's a big representation there now. And then of course, you know, everybody don't just stay with them one Jamaican people, mix with English people, mix with Indian people. So everybody mix up now as well, so it's not just, and with African, nearly all of my grandkids part African.
Okay.
Because the people mix in the country now.
Yeah. So what percentage of the population was like non-white people in the UK at the time?
I don't know at the time. The last time I looked at it, they said in total, I think it was about 11%.
Oh, still a small amount compared to.
It's very small, but you know what? It feels different depending on where you live. So in London, you feel like it's a foreign place where everybody's foreign. And not foreign black or Jamaican, but just foreign, you know, because there's Eastern Europeans There's people from this side of the continent, you know, from the islands, from everywhere around the world, basically. But then if you go up to like the Midlands where we were born, there was lots of Caribbean people, but then there's now also lots of African people. So it depends on which part of England you live in. You can feel like there's no black people in the country, or that it's full of black people.
And I guess kind of with that, did you ever find like, I guess, community with like these other groups of people, like other Caribbean islands or like other like countries in Africa?
When we were younger,
No.
Okay.
And you know, there was this small island thing we were talking about. We were brought up with that.
Expand on that, Jean. Explain what you mean by that. We have that same prejudice in Jamaica, what we just call
Well,
it.
we were taught that prejudice, land. So we were taught to look down on people who weren't from Jamaica because they were small island people. And so I think we might have met one person from Barbados. It was very unusual to meet anybody from any other island, because I think they just didn't mix very well, and we were brought up with the small island. No, we didn't do that. And with the Africans, I don't know what Joy would say. I have to confess something here. I was married to an African for a little while, so
yeah, full disclosure, yes.
Full disclosure. So my view might be a bit prejudiced. No, but I don't know. Like I said, all my I have got 5 grandchildren, and 4 of them are part African. So, but when we were young, there weren't any Africans, were they? It was
Mommy used to work with Africans. Remember, she worked.
But we were a bit
culture,
older then.
Yeah,
we were a bit like 20s, in our 20s then. But when we were like teenagers or children,
there were no Africans around.
They weren't. They hadn't come to the country in that kind of numbers yet. But now, I would say they're more. I don't know if they're more Africans now than Jamaicans or Caribbean people. Could be.
But
I don't know.
So, well, within that 11%, whatever.
But there's prejudice. There's prejudice to answer Arancha's question. I don't think we easily mix.
And when you say we mean Jamaicans per se?
I think, you know what, although everybody's got the same colour skin, it's still so different. One of my best friends while I was in the civil service was from Ghana, Mariska. Do you remember Mariska? And she and I were like, we used to talk about it because we would say that on the one hand, because we were both black people brought up in England, we had a lot in common. But then on the other hand, because she was Ghanaian and I was Jamaica, we had quite a lot of differences. And I think particularly in attitude, I always feel like Jamaicans are less deferential than Africans are.
Meaning what? What that, Jean? What do you mean?
I don't know. I'm trying to think how I mean it. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like they think white people are probably more important than we think white people are. I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know if it's, sometimes I think if it's my mom really, because we were brought up to think we're as good as anybody else.
But not better than we. I know that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a wood thing, as I say, a cultural thing from our family.
I think it might be a wood thing, you know. Yeah, I agree. So, I agree with you, Lance. It was like, so me just as good as you hinted. Yeah, so there was never any deference to white people from us.
No, but no matter to me none at all. I come there country, I come to school. You know better than me, none at all. So I get that.
Yeah.
That may be a particular family cultural thing. I don't know. I can't speak for other family, but I can speak for ours. So yes.
Yeah, exactly. But I think as well, I think my experience of Africans is that they do look down on West Indians or Caribbean people. I don't find that's my experience anyway. They don't consider us quite as good as them.
And Joy, you have any comment in terms of like, I didn't realize that in the early days is most of Jamaicans were in the UK at the time, or it was just a Wolverhampton thing where it's just pure Jamaican that's unnamed, that's that. I mean, I got this same that the islands from the Caribbean.
Because to be honest with you, because even I'm thinking now all the other streets, and all the people that we knew were only Jamaicans. Yeah. So if there were Africans that were, I can't think of any African that lived in the neighborhood.
Or in the Caribbean people like Barbados and Trinidad and Barbados
There
Chief.
was an odd one or two, isn't he? Odd one or two.
On your
but
street.
I
Yeah.
can't even remember those people if they
No,
were there. I can't remember their names, no
no,
faces. I can't remember
no.
those people.
But do you know what? As well, I would say that even if there were black people there, somehow the other people not from Jamaica, somehow the Jamaican culture was very dominant.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, you know, so for example, when we got to teenagers, again, full disclosure, Joy didn't do it, but I did locks up for a few years.
I won't talk about that. We'll get into that. No worry. I forget.
How is only me have all these disclosures? Yeah, so you know when Rasta stuff took off in England.
It was at the same thing in Jamaica to Joyce, Jean. Same thing. At the
Yes,
same time.
yeah.
That's how I'm going to get into.
So it took off in England, and it was a way. It was a way of kind of feeling proud of who you are, wearing your red, gold, and green. The guys wearing their locks.
Don't listen to her. I have my disclosures.
Let me hear yours, Joy. Let me hear yours. Yeah.
But during that period, even though I didn't locks up, remember I used to wrap the hair.
Yes, yeah.
And,
We used to wear wrap and
all of the.
And your long skirt?
Huh?
Your long skirt and everything that too?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So it really took and you know, I'm thinking like places in London like Brixton, it was like a Jamaican place. There's so many places across England where it was the black people were Jamaican and reggae and Rastafarianism was the thing, you know, and Bob Marley came to England and it just seemed like that was the dominant black culture. It's not now, but it did feel like it at the time.
Yeah. But during that time as well, remember for us, it was trying to find an identity.
Yeah. And what year
Because
was this, Joy? Like in the 1970s?
80s.
80s. Okay, yeah.
End of 70s to
Late
beginning
70s,
of
just like
80s,
when you
yeah.
leave
No,
high
it was
school
before
also.
that,
Yeah.
Jake. We were still at school.
Yeah, high school, yeah.
Tanya was born in 79, and it was before that.
Mm.
So it was before that.
End of 70s, beginning of 80s.
But it was a way because we're realizing now that, like,
we're not fitting.
we don't fit in here. The white people don't really want us.
There were riots as well. Do you remember the riots?
Yeah. And then it was like, so where do we go? Because we're thinking we're not Jamaicans. They're not going to have us in Jamaica.
Yeah, because Maggie Thatcher wanted to make us all Jamaicans and she wasn't allowed to.
Yes.
Who that?
And
Margaret Thatcher.
Oh, Mrs. Thatcher. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So, like I say, being the Rastafarian culture for us gave us sort of an identity, if you like. We felt like we belonged to something or belonged somewhere. Because apart from that, like I say, you wasn't sort of welcome in England, but it's like we're saying, well, we can't go back to Jamaica. We know,
But don't want to stay either.
Exactly.
That was a very clear discussion when Margaret Thatcher tried to say kids born of West Indian parents or parents from abroad couldn't be British. They had to be the other culture. The Commonwealth countries said no, and it was very clear. It felt like you didn't belong anywhere.
Right.
Oh, really? I wasn't aware of that. So in terms of, say, they came around after they invite us in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, they want to turn them back and say, oh, no, belong?
Yeah.
Yes.
I wasn't even aware of that.
That's crazy. It's even like despite being like born in the country, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Even now, if you're born in England, if your mother's not British, you're not automatically British.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so that is I didn't know that at all. It's not like when you come and have a birth certificate problem like some people. When you're born at a place.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's cause I know it's kind of crazy how it's different in certain countries. It's like the birthright citizenship and all this type of stuff. But I don't know. I just found it odd. Like if you're born in the country, it's kind of just like it should be just assumed. But yeah,
the laws in the United States different than here. If you're born here, no question asked in terms of that.
Yeah, but remember, this was something that Maggie Thatcher was trying to do.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. And before her, I remember Enoch Powell, because he was actually, he was MP for Wolverhampton.
Oh,
And
really?
he always used to sing like "Send them back."
Yeah,
His thing was repatriation. You're gonna send them all back,
yeah.
and
He
There's
was the one
too
who talked
many
about
of
rivers
them.
of blood.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. And he was our local MP. I used to walk up the street and see pictures of him in the window of people's houses.
And at the same time, my promoter for sending her back.
And this is when we're growing up as
School,
teenagers.
yeah.
Mhm.
So so let me ask you something then. When those speeches were being, when those discussions were being held publicly, did you feel it in school like your friends and would I tell you if I go back home and them things? Did that ever happen at all?
You remember the National Front?
Oh, I do remember the National Front.
The who?
Yeah.
National Front.
Oh, that's it. That's the far right
the
group.
right wing race, far right group.
Yeah.
And Sonia, our sister, always tells a story of one of her very good friends joining the National Front. And when Sonia said, "Oh, do you want me to leave?" she said, "No, you're all right. You can stay." So they were recruiting kids outside of our school. So it was weird. And there were lots of fights between black boys and National Front boys, skinheads we called them. So it was when we got to teenagers, it was a very difficult racial time in Britain.
It was tense time, yeah.
It was, yeah. And we were very clear there were lots of people that didn't want us to be there. But we're also very clear that we weren't going to be home in Jamaica.
Why you say that? I mean, you hadn't been back to Jamaica yet, so they didn't know if you'd be
We'd never been to Jamaica. We didn't know. In the one where it was called home, but then it wasn't home to us because we didn't know the place at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, talk about that a little bit then. In terms of that, did mommy and daddy always talk about say they want to go back home?
Did they?
No, they never talked about going back home. Our dad used to send money to his mom and brother because they were building a house that never transpired.
Yeah, we know them story. We know about them story.
It was built with fresh air bricks and fresh air windows. Up till now, it's still all fresh air because it's not there. But it's true. But I don't think I ever heard them talking about going back home to live. I think because we were kids and they had 5 of us, and then, like I said, our brother David died. You know, you have your family and you have to bring up your family and you're working and you're concentrating on that. You know, when you have a young family, you deal with that. And so, and I don't think I think if mommy said she was going back home, it means she was going back for a 3-week holiday. It didn't mean she was going back to live.
But then, like you were saying, Joy, they focused on us being at home because neither of them went back to Jamaica. Mommy went in 1978 and Daddy went in 1980.
Yes. But they went alone.
So, they went alone and they'd been in the country for a long time before they ever went back to visit.
Yeah, that almost 20 years that got went.
We were grown up by the time they went back to
visit.
Big
enough now.
Yeah.
So never hear the Baba in the song on the house. I've got to go back home. That's never playing on the house then. No, I never hear them tune that then. Is that right?
No. But the thing is, our dad has gone back to Jamaica now, so and he's gone back to exactly where he was brought up.
Yeah.
And he did actually spend the last 5 years of his mum's life with her, which he was pleased about. So he did eventually return, but Mummy, no plans whatsoever to ever go back to live
Jamaica.
there.
Yeah. I hear you. All right, so Ranchi, you have any question? As I said, don't let me just talk, or
No, you're good. I kind of have a question back to like your point when you talked about like Rastafarianism, and I know you talked a lot about like connecting with that, with like locking your hair and like wearing certain clothes. Were there other ways you were able to like connect with like Rastafarianism?
I didn't smoke weed, so there's no
full disclosure again, Jean. Jean, full disclosure. Listen, I'm going to Jamaica. I've never smoked it either. Full disclosure, though. Full disclosure,
I did smoke weed.
Hold on. You smoke it or you smoke and never inhale? Which one?
Yeah.
Which
Huh?
one, Jean? Joy, you smoke and never inhale? Like a former president say?
No, I inhaled, because I did smoke.
Do you know what? I think that's because Joy was a smoker and I was never a smoker. Not probably because I was asthmatic, so I just never took to smoking at all. So I never did any of that. What else? I used to do ital food, so vegetarianism. I never took to that till later. I became vegetarian. Oh no, that's not true. Oh my God, I'm just remembering that's not true.
Because your kids were vegetarian,
Yeah,
remember?
my kids were also, when I had kids, so we had kids early. I don't know if that's part of Rastafarianism, but
No, that's part of growing up. You either have them early or you don't have them at all. Yes.
I had kids early. So my kids, the man I had the kids with, he was a Rasta. So our house, I don't know what I was talking about. Our house was total vegetarian.
No meat.
No meat. So ital food, vegetarian. He smoked weed all the time. And I was loxed, he was loxed, the children were loxed. I knitted red, gold, and green sweaters. So yeah, it was, and that was until I was 26.
Yeah, okay.
That was like
then.
that was about 8 years living as a proper Rasta with the Rasta man. And,
yeah.
And all that goes along with that, good and bad.
Okay, yeah. That's interesting. Yes. That's interesting, yeah. So in the early days, before I come to on a Jamaican visit, because I know that I will have a little more question for that. Because I was part of that visit and that
yes, you were.
So before I come to that, the question I was going to ask is like, what you did for fun growing up in the UK in the 1970s? What was like, what you did as a family fun for summer or just for fun?
Well, there wasn't much money around.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, so things for us. What was fun, like if we were going to Birmingham to see Auntie Kathleen, that was a big trip because you had to go in a car, and we never possessed no cars, so a friend, somebody would drive, and that for us was a big thing, and we're all excited because we're going to see our cousins and everything.
There was an annual fair, so there was a Pat Collins, whoever this person was, I don't know. The fair used to come to town once a year. And we would dress up to go to the fair. Yes. Imagine that.
In your Sunday best.
Go to the fair. What else? We just play on the street.
The term Sunday best is a Jamaican thing, I think, It's like...
Is it? Okay, yeah.
I don't know if any other culture use it.
The white people in England say it.
Sunday best,
yeah. Because, everybody used to dress up and go to church.
Maybe I'm wrong. But I know we used to do that at Jamaica. They dress up in a Sunday best. Maybe it's an English thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, yeah.
Because we had 3 sets of clothes. You had your school clothes, your clothes, house clothes, and your Sunday best.
Yeah.
And you guys...
Yeah, there wasn't all these clothes that we used to have before. No.
Repeat that, Jane.
Joy was saying
there was 3 sets of clothes we had when we was growing up. There was your school clothes, there was your house clothes, and then there was your Sunday best.
Your Sunday best.
Because Sunday best obviously was go to church. And when you came home from school, before you even had anything, you had to take off your school clothes, and put on your house clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that was we had night clothes too. So that's the sets of.
Do you know what though? Joy just said something that reminded me as well, because it's one of the issues I've thought about, that we grew up in England, but we didn't grow up rich. We didn't grow up well off.
No, not like how they thought we were rich from Jamaica.
The impression I got from Jamaicans, or when I went to Jamaica, or the sending of money, I think it kind of gave an impression that somehow people in England were rich and well off. We had a 2-bedroom house. Our parents had 1 bedroom, and the 5 kids had 1 bedroom. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like a well-to-do life. Like Joy said, we had minimal clothing, just what we needed. Mm-hmm. And we didn't really go many places because there wasn't money to go anywhere. We
Mm-hmm.
played on the street, out in the street.
Yeah,
And as we got older, we went to the local park.
that's
And that was it. This rich life or this well-to-do life that people think people lived in England, it was rare for a Jamaican person. Our parents were good. They actually managed to own their own house quite early on. But it wasn't it was a rare thing.
No, it was. I mean, but that's a common thing, because
Yeah,
you guys
we're immigrants. They were immigrants,
But-
so it was an immigrant life.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, Mommy not here. Maybe one of these days she'll come tell the story. But there's a story in our family where, and I'm not going to call her name, a particular sister came
Yeah,
up after the older one, after Kathleen, and Kathleen warned her and said, England
Yeah.
is no bed of roses.
yeah,
See a message
Yeah.
they are sent back to Jamaica knowing that say England is, even though it look like you can have a little more affordability, and it's not say you could afford more, but you could send back money to Jamaica and give the Jamaican people the impression say money grow up on tree or is a bed of roses, as Auntie Kathleen would say. And that sister came and never spent 1 5 months to learn that it wasn't a bed of roses. My mom
No. No. Do you know what, Lance? There was a period that my dad ate porridge so that he could send money to his mum.
Ate what?
Eat porridge. for
Yeah, no,
dinner,
right.
breakfast,
But
Yeah.
so he could send money to his mother.
no, there's nothing different, We live a foreign, and it's like if you want to send money.
Oh, no, innit?
Yeah. No, listen, hold on. Correct that. I never live off on a barrel from foreign at Jamaica at all.
No. Me not say but you know the impression.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
know.
impression.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So as we talk about that, only never pack barrel and send go to Jamaica. Or that's an
No.
American thing.
No. They used to do it in England, but our family didn't do it. Mommy and daddy
Well,
didn't
not
do
as
it.
we know,
No.
but they might have done. I don't know. We
No,
were
I don't
kids.
recall ever seeing no barrel. I don't recall nothing
No.
like that.
That may be a USA thing. That's a big USA and Canada thing.
No. They
They
do
might
it.
have
They
done.
do it in the UK too. But what I'm saying is, I don't recall.
They couldn't afford to pack.
Right, they had 5 kids to feed. They had a mortgage to pay. They had because Daddy worked in a factory.
Yeah.
He worked in a factory for
all his career.
and it was very minimal wages.
Yeah. And him a feed porridge to make him can send money to him family.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You sound like you had a question, Ranche.
No, I mean, I was just commenting on like the barrel stuff because I know like it's even still common even today,
Yeah.
obviously, but it's big in like not even just Jamaica, but like all Caribbean countries. There was like
Yeah.
an art piece one time I was looking it up and it was like pack love in a barrel. And that was like a really
Oh.
big thing, especially when I was doing my thesis research for like mothers to pack barrels to their children. And that was like one
Oh,
way
yeah.
they could like still be a mom, even though like they weren't like with
Yeah.
their kids. So
Yeah.
it's a big thing, I must say.
I'm based on your thesis, Ranche. You have any question that Joy and Jean bring up what trigger your memory in terms of way that thing you could ask them?
I guess I have a question a bit because I know you mentioned church clothing, and I know church is usually like a really big like point of community. So like, did you guys go to church often? And if you did, like, was it with like other Jamaican people, like in the community still?
Yes, when we was much younger, we used to go to a
Church of God.
Church of God of Prophecy that was across town. So one of the Mr. Millings,
Yeah.
because he had like a van,
A
so
minivan.
yeah, so he used to come and collect us and take us to the church. Mommy and Daddy never go to church. They just send us in the van to church.
Hold on. You know the name of that church in Jamaica where you go to? They have a name for it in Jamaica. It can never go. It's not a traditional church. It's not the Catholic. It's not the Anglican church.
No.
It's a non-traditional church. You know what my father used to call them church, eh?
What?
Baya Bingy Church.
It was like, if you see the people getting a spirit, sorry, I don't offend anybody.
No.
No, but then, like I said, Mommy and Daddy didn't come with us. They used to pack us off to church.
Yeah.
And then we didn't like it because, like Jean said, they used to get into spirit. They'd be rolling around on the floor, speaking in tongues.
Yeah.
And it frightened us because we were only little.
Yeah.
So what was
So
the impression like that at the time?
Yeah.
I thought it was weird and scary. Weird and scary.
We were scared. Yeah, we were scared because we didn't have our parents there to tell us what was going on.
Yeah.
Look after us.
Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? And then when church was finished, Brother Millings would bring us back up. But we used to find Brother Millings.
And when that church like that in Jamaica, I didn't go to that because I went to the traditional Anglican church on our East Street, St. George's Church. So, and we'd take a bus. Like you, we never have no car either. Believe it or not, we never get a car till the 1970s. Before that, we could have purchased a car. We could have.
Right.
So I know exactly that. And we probably living at the one house at because a 2-bedroom house same here. So.
All right.
You know, I tell me nothing we don't know about at all. So.
Good.
But then what happened with church was, because we were frightened and we didn't want to go to church, there was a church up the road, right up the road, called Lee Road Church. And that was a
United Reformed
Church.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a mix of Baptist and Methodist. So that was a proper English church with a vicar.
No, we're rolling on the floor.
Right, no, none of that.
On the floor.
None of that. None of that. So, because there were 2 white ladies that lived across the road from us. Mrs. Pretty and her daughter Barbara, because they used to go to that church. And I always say to everybody, those people are true Christians to me. They do true, because remember, they're white people and they're living in this street or in this town full of, like we said, we had Indian, we had black on the street. And they never turned anybody away from their door. There was an Indian family that lived next door that they wanted to do all kinds of things to, and they stopped them from doing it. And like I said, they just cared for everybody. But anyway, so we started going to the church at Lee Road.
Yeah.
And when we get to Lee Road Church, now, guess what? We have some more Jamaican people.
Yeah. What was interesting about that church is all the elders were white, people who'd lived in the area a long time. And then all the younger people were the Jamaican kids from around the area. And it just worked really well. They loved us, we loved them. It was wonderful.
Yeah. So on a Sunday, when we got older and was teenagers, nobody never had to send us to church because we are going to church first with friend them where we just left Friday because we all go to the same school. We all catch the bus or walk to the same school. So you go to church on a Sunday, but you was
socializing,
carry on socializing with your friends. So, but nobody had to tell us to get up and go to church. We would get up and go to church.
It was like part of school then, going to school.
It was an extension, it was another day where we could see everybody and do something different.
Yeah. And I just talk about that. What percentage? I know they asked about the general population. When you go to school, what percentage of the kids them were white as opposed to black at the time? In the school system when you go. And even the church, when you go to church, what percentage of the population was white versus black? I'm just curious.
I don't know about school. At church, it felt like half-half because the kids were all black and the adults were all white, basically.
There were a couple of white, like Ruth.
Ruth was, Ruth,
she was Down syndrome.
Yeah.
Okay.
But at school, I don't even know. It was mainly white.
Oh,
That's
mainly
all
white. Okay.
At school, it was definitely mainly white.
But you never feel that at all. Is the school system itself push that more than the children them?
Initially, when we were young, yeah.
Yeah. Let me
So,
ask a question though, because during the time when I was growing up, the West Indies cricket team was a dominant cricket team. I used to come to England, and I was an avid cricket fan. Don't listen to cricket a lot these days. What impact the West Indies cricket team started dominate, especially when they came to England and win? What impact that had on Uno? And especially
none at all.
None at all.
I would say not really. I mean, Daddy used to watch.
All right, so I was going to say I've got a different experience to Joy because I would. All right, so one of the things about being an asthmatic is that you spend a lot of time sitting in the house when you can't breathe properly. So watching cricket with my dad was a big thing, and one of the things that any sport, including cricket, you would cheer the Jamaicans or the West Indians. You didn't cheer the English when we were young, as young kids. Until England started to be represented by black people.
And that, yeah.
So I remember Clive Davis. He was a cricketer.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes. You know Clive Davis?
A cricketer?
Yeah.
No, I'm not know that name that all, Jane.
See?
All right.
Clive Lyde.
Clive Lyde, that's it. Yeah,
man, Clive Lyde. Yeah. Clive Lyde, yeah.
My dad. So when West Indies used to play England, sitting in the house with my dad, we would be cheering the West Indies, not England.
Yeah. West Indies won the World Cup, the first World Cup in England in 1975.
See it there?
Yeah. I don't know that. Me, they're Jamaican. No, I don't know that. So it's all right. 75 and 79. West Indies team won, and both of those finals were played in England. So yeah.
Yeah. It was I remember it was a big thing for the Jamaican community anyway. And they cheered for the West Indian team, not the English team.
Yeah, but not all. Maybe that's a girl thing, one of those. Maybe boy. I don't know. When we get something.
No. I wouldn't say that's a girl thing because I used to play cricket with the boys at school.
Yeah.
Remember we used to play cricket? We got to the Margans. Remember?
Yeah, with the boys.
Yeah. I don't know if it was just us as wood children. I don't know. But us girls, we rough it with the boys because we played basketball, we played cricket. Yeah. Anything the boys were doing, we were doing it too.
Yeah. And let me ask one more question before we transition into where when Uno come to Jamaica the first time.
Yes.
The football. What was football like, and what about not soccer as them call it these days, but we call it football in England and Jamaica.
Yes.
What impact that I don't know in terms of say, because weren't you interested in that any at all?
Yeah, Joy was a Liverpool fan. Me and Sonia were Wolves fans, Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Hometown fans, yes.
Yeah, and David, our brother, was a Leeds fan. And he liked Billy Bremner in Leeds. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes.
We like Kevin. You love Kevin Keegan in
for Liverpool. Liverpool are my team. To say,
and me and Sonia, I'm trying to remember, is it Derek Dugan? Yes. I think from Wolverhampton Wanderers. So football had a big impact. And I was a Wolverhampton Wanderers fan until Ian Wright started playing for
Arsenal.
For Arsenal. So I've been an Arsenal fan since Ian Wright started to play. But John Barnes played for Liverpool. Do you remember that, John?
Yeah, he was at Watford and then Liverpool. So Ian Wright played for Wolverhampton first?
Huh?
Ian Wright was at Wolverhampton before Arsenal?
No, he was at Crystal Palace.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But that's what I say, with sport, as the black people in the country started to become represented, it kind of shifted certainly my loyalties from West Indies, Caribbean to the black English players.
Yeah. I don't know the first black player who ever played for England.
I don't know.
Viv Anderson.
All right.
Viv Anderson. Yeah. No.
I know you're a football guy. I know your Meadowbrook stuff is all about, it's all about football.
No, it's all about information. No, yeah.
So, but I'll tell you, I'll just tell you, one of your cousins, because it's my grandson, he's currently signed to Tottenham, although he's only 10.
Oh, really? That's good.
Yeah, but he's signed to Tottenham Academy.
He started the youth program. That is excellent.
Yeah.
He must have really talent, and that is great.
He does.
Mm-hmm. That is great. Ranchi, you were saying something?
No, I didn't have anything.
Sorry. Yeah. All right, so my question, unless we could transition into the time when you find out so now come Jamaica now in 1988. What was the preparation like for say boy and I go Jamaica for the first time? What was the preparation and anticipation like? And you go first, Joy.
I think we're all excited, isn't it? Because remember as well, this is the first time we're going to fly. Because
we'd never flown.
We've never been on an aeroplane before. And so it's the first time we're going to fly, the first time we were going to go to Jamaica. And I have to tell you, Lance, as well, we knew all about Lance and Patrick, Donna, Bibi. Because we used to hear about Lance and Patrick, Don and Billy.
And we had a picture of Sister Lily in our living room when we were growing up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And Uncle Jimmy still have that picture as
Yeah.
well. We didn't really hear about any other cousins in Jamaica, but
No.
we know
Our
about.
Sister Lily and
Yes.
Uncle Tom.
I know why that is
Yeah.
though. You know why that is?
Because she's the eldest and she looked after mommy.
Yeah, that may be part of it. But remember when your mom left for go England in the 1960s, they left from Raytown.
Raytown,
Mom and daddy,
yeah.
yeah. Mommy and daddy was
Exactly.
that house was like the house everybody leave for come to England and go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because mommy
Yeah.
was married at the time and that was like they were the center then because mom was the oldest one,
Exactly.
as you say.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we never really heard too much about other cousins, but we did know about Sister Gally and Sister Lily. We didn't know about Kitty. We'd heard those names, but like I said, it was mainly Sister Lily,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Donna, Bidley, Patrick, and that.
Exactly.
So we were excited.
And that's another thing again, Joy. Sorry, and then Jean can come in. Lana lived with us at the time for a long time. Lana was living with
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
that's more reason why mommy, our name would have called a whole heap in your house. Yeah, because Lana lived with us. Lana went to Meadowbrook with us. All them way that was
Yes.
for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, we always knew about Lorna as well, and I remember seeing a picture of her, and we always knew she existed and that she was in Jamaica and that she was mommy's daughter. So yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
So there was a lot of excitement that we were like we're going to Jamaica. We're going to Jamaica.
And Eugene, what was it like anticipating going to Jamaica for the first time?
yeah, like Joy said, it was exciting. I think that was the main thing. It was just like, oh, we're finally doing this, and but it's interesting because me, Joy, and Pet were all really excited. Because my mom basically funded the trip. She said she's going to pay for us to go. So she wanted us to go and see Jamaica. And all we had to do was to get our spending money together and buy ourselves clothes to wear while we were there.
Mm-hmm.
But our other sister, Sonia, was not interested and didn't want to come. So I'm just giving you a sense that there's a different perspective as well. So, as you know, it was me, Joy, and Pet that came with
that.
mommy.
I remember one of your sisters. I remember Sonia didn't
Yeah.
come at all. When she heard about the trip, she must have regretted. Right, it me miss a nice thing.
Yeah, because we talked about it for like 5 years after that.
Yeah.
And actually, I was telling Jean today when we was driving down, I said, "Oh, Mark and Chris, I'm sure they must be excited to see Jean." And I said, because Mark, Jasper kids, because they were children, because they came that year and they were young kids. Because Renee was just a baby.
Yeah.
And I said, when I came to live in the US, and when I went to one of Sharon's party, and Mark did come over, and he was so excited to see me. And the first thing he said to me and Chris talk about that trip, and you guys almost every day. So it wasn't just exciting for us.
Yeah.
But it was for like
the experience. Once we had it was great.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, man. That was a summer to remember. We may get tonight then. And that was ironically the summer when Gilbert came after on a leave about a week after.
Yes. Yeah. Just in time.
Oh, no, just miss that.
Yes, we were lucky.
That's a different breed of excitement. But yeah, when I went.
Before we get started, like, how old were y'all when you first visited? And then were you guys nervous, especially just going by yourself and
No, mommy came with them. Mommy came with them, Ranji. Their mom came with them.
No?
Yeah,
Okay.
We were older because I was 26, so you'd have been 27 in it, and Pet would have been 22. So like Lance said, mommy came with us, so it's like she was bringing us into the family in Jamaica. So we weren't coming on our own.
But at that age, you're not a big woman then for put it. Ranchi, I live in Colorado now for over 2 years, and she's 24, I think, Ranchi.
Yeah.
Search.
I was waiting to see if he knew.
No, so right. A good question at Ranchi if you ask the age. And yeah. So when you land Jamaica the first time now, and which plane this was? This was British Airways and BOAC had been out changed.
No,
No,
it wasn't.
American Airlines through Miami.
Oh, on the connecting flight. Okay.
Yeah, because we stopped off in Miami.
And did we come by, what's the Jamaican one called? I forgot.
You're Jamaica.
Yeah, did we come by Air Jamaica from Miami?
I
I
can't
think
remember.
we did, you know.
We could have. I can't remember.
I think we did.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
All
we
right.
came from. Do you know what was funny though, Lance? I look at pictures now and I see we were all dressed up in our suits to go.
We were dressed up in our Sunday best. That's what we were, dressed in our Sunday best.
It's
On
ridiculous.
the Sunday best. And then you hear the Jamaican goes and say, what that to Navan?
No, but again, in those days, people used to dress up
To
to
fly.
Yes,
to
to
be
fly.
fine,
I know.
You know,
I
like
know.
how they used to dress up to go to the doctors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Used to, anything
Yeah.
that seemed official, you used to dress up
Dress
for.
up. To,
And dress-
it's weird.
And dress up. Describe what dress up mean to Ranchi.
Suit.
Stocking and all, Ranchi. Stocking and everything. Yes.
We had a skirts. We all had skirt suits on, didn't we?
How long was the flight? Do you guys remember?
The same as it is now, Ranch. It's like usually 8 hours to get to
Man.
America, and then if
Miami,
you fly to
Yeah.
and then if you're flying to Jamaica, it'd be another like hour or
Another
so.
about 90 minutes from
Mhm.
Miami. Yeah.
Hour and a
Yeah.
half, yeah.
So it's
It was long.
It's
By
long.
the time we got
Yeah.
there, it was long.
All right. So on the land now in Jamaica, what the first impression on the land of Jamaica now, on the plane land, and the immigration and custom, what the first impression I get?
the immigration was nasty.
Yeah, they were rude.
The people are very, because you know you you
They
think
weren't nice.
they
were
weren't nice, no. But you know, you come and you see black people working at the airport. They're doing all the jobs there. And you know, when we left England, it's all the white people who are doing the jobs, right? So you're thinking that you're coming and they're all going to be black, so they would treat you with a little bit, you know,
Nicely.
nice. But no, they were nasty.
Mm.
You know what it is? It's like, I've got this job, so this makes me very important.
Yeah.
Mm.
It almost
I
like-
don't know. I felt like they didn't like us because we were English. But you know, you put meaning on things. It may be nothing to do with that. They might have been
Yeah.
tired.
Right.
They might have had enough of working that day. They might be upset with their husband or wife. But I felt like, oh, okay. Is that how you're going on?
That is, no, it's not the English thing. And Arantxa can attest to this. I remember when I started living here and when I going back a couple of times. And I had to custom
Yeah.
off too. It's the same issue. Them
Yeah,
have a problem
they're
with foreigners that come down. It's like them.
Yeah.
them
On
market-
customs?
Yes, custom
Yeah.
immigration. I
Yeah,
look on them one
immigration,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Ranchi.
No, I get it. I mean, I think the first time I went through like by myself, I was like freaking out because usually I just kind of let like someone else handle it.
Yeah.
But it was just, I don't know. It was nothing like rude or nasty, but I put on my best Jamaican accent and acted like I was supposed to be there.
Yeah. See, I felt like somehow because I was not Jamaican, they weren't being particularly nice to
No,
me.
it's not that. Gene, I tell you, it's like,
Yes.
me custom off already. One time me come back, I'm saying, only two ready. I tell them that already. But it's a problem though. I'm going to call it out as the seed because we just talk about the experience. And when I meal them out and water down, not that. But yeah.
Yeah.
So I had the same
Yeah.
problem when and this is years later when me come in and live a foreign, you know.
Yeah.
And I go back home and the same issue is like me. I say, what's wrong with them people here?
Mm.
Them, you know, just like you say, you expect them to treat, you know, not in a special way, but treat you with a little respect and little kindness. But
Yeah.
it's like,
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like the treatment at all. That they make you feel like you're a thief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Mommy had to rough up one. Well, she did rough up one because when we got out of the airport now, I was standing outside the airport. Who did come up? Peter
Peter and
did,
Lana.
Lana did come up. So obviously we're standing outside now, and you know the security, police, or whatever, and they we then gone. And so we're standing out there. One come try and rough we up and say, "Well, move on, and look here, stand up
That's
here."
the
son."
police.
Yes. And Miss Nellie Ann turned around and said to them, "Hold on, you can't see me doing something. Hold on. You come out your business." And he run. He
Yeah.
had to run because she brought him up.
Mm.
And then another one came past, and of course, Jean's talking about we're dressed in all suits and everything. I saw their best. Well, one come past and said, "Oh, look at the angels, them come down from heaven."
But you know what Joyce just reminded me of is the gun.
Yeah, I was asking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, in England we didn't see gun. I mean, occasionally now, more often now, you'll see it like at the airport or so. But gun is a very foreign thing to us in England, unless you're like in aristocracy in the countryside, you go shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got fox shooting and all them with it.
Yeah, you don't. It's not something we see. So I found that quite a scary thing in the Jamaican culture. And this is nothing to do with Jamaica now, but going to the Social Security office on Monday in America, I was shocked to see the security guard with a gun. It's just not something I'm used to as a person.
Yeah.
But as somebody who was brought up in England, it's just a very alien thing to me.
Where said the policeman them still have button in the UK?
Do they have a button? I can't think of where their baton is if they've got one. I'm sure they must have, but it's not something you see normal on the streets.
Yeah.
At all. And you definitely wouldn't go to like a civil office, a government-run office, and see a security guard with a gun. That is just
gun, yeah, just seeing it. Yeah, it might have it, but you not see it.
It's on the hip. No, they don't have it, Lance.
They don't have it at all?
No. No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Wow.
No.
Is that different?
And that was the thing. I remember going to the bank in Jamaica and the security guards standing with big and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah, so that must have been a surprise to in terms of yeah.
That surprise is a very mild word.
Understatement, okay.
You know what it is? I don't think it was a surprise.
It's shocking.
I said, but to actually hear about it when you're sitting at home in England and to actually go and see it is different. Because I don't know what you expect. I don't know what you expect when you see a gun. Because the only gun we used to see was on the TV with the cowboy and Indian them and shoot up what they did. That's the only kind of gun we knew. So, but you knew there was guns there. Because, every time there was an election and all them something.
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing we heard about Jamaica. Shoot up.
Right.
Yeah. So when the first time I hear gunshots at Jamaica, I must have said, what that? The Jamaican them just say, yeah, man.
It was in a dance. With
we'll come to that.
With our cousin Lance, isn't it? Our cousin Lance took us to a dance somewhere.
We'll come to them dancing. Them the dancing that run the place. Don't worry. And the reggae sunsplash and all that. Yeah. But let me ask you something. We've come to the dance and thing. The weather, what was the weather like in terms of compared to England when you landed in Jamaica for the first time?
I thought a memory I always have of Jamaica is driving along the seafront, and it was warm at night, which was like alien. It's strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be warm at night and the smell of the sea, I thought was absolutely wonderful.
So the heat never bothered at all?
Oh, God, yes. Because we came in August.
Yeah.
I had the heat rash, something I'd never had before. I was introduced to something called Anim's powder.
Amine powder, yes. Yeah.
I was told to put that on my heat rash. We ended up fighting for the fan in Sister Lily's house, didn't we?
Yeah.
It was so hot.
Yeah, there was three.
Well, I'm Jean, and Sister Lily for the record, that is my mom. That's your mother's sister. Yeah.
And oh my gosh, I said I would never ever go to Jamaica in August again. Yeah. It was burning hot. And then as well, with Granny used to say, "Get out of the sun." But we were English, so it was like, let's sunbathe. Let's get some sun on us. And both of them. So it was like, coming from England, when the sun's out, you run into it. You know that saying, mad dog and Englishmen go out in the midday sun?
Yeah.
So we were brought up to go out in the sun, but we were told, don't do that. And it was true. I got burnt, I got heat rash, but I still loved the Jamaican experience. even though that the weather was very difficult to deal with at that
The
time.
weather was unkind. Yeah, August is the hottest time of the year. August is not. And the mosquito them never trouble, you know?
Oh,
Oh
my
my
God,
gosh.
yeah. It's terrible. Got bitten all over. And then I actually, that was
All of
the
us
time.
went to the doctor.
Was it? Yeah, we went to the doctor. We had to
Yeah,
go
you
to the
went first and then
doctor.
I
Yeah,
went.
it was my hand swelled up so much with a bite
The
that
mosquito bite them.
Lorna had to take me
Mine-
to the doctors.
Yeah, mine was on my face because my eye, remember me? I did
Yeah.
swell up and we had to go to the doctors and get medication.
Yeah.
and-
But
Yeah.
that never stopped you from partying, though.
Oh,
No.
no. You know what that didn't stop us.
All right, so talk about the party them. Talk about the first time you go one of them Jamaican party. And what was that experience like?
Which one did we go? Lance, I remember one. I don't know where it is, but you did say to us, if anything starts happening, stand by the wall, stand by the wall. and there was this policeman. Do you remember his name? And they used to sing about him in songs.
Oh, Bigger Ford?
Yes, that was it. And I remember him walking in. I was like, whoa. I felt so nervous because he was tough looking. Oh my gosh. But also again, even though there was all these things we had to learn to keep safe, it was wonderful.
Mhm.
And being outside as well, partying outside.
Yes.
That was like, wow, this is fantastic. One time we did go Red Hills Road, was it? And yet Yellow Man was there and Flower Gun was there. Remember,
Oh,
George?
yeah.
Yeah,
And
that-
Sanchez.
Sanchez,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
that
yeah.
was. Oh my God, we were meeting all these famous people.
Remember we talked to Sanchez?
Yeah, we talked to
Buffy did-
Sanchez and Flower Gun.
Yes,
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
introduce-
'Cause
Yeah.
I didn't know them good at the time. Yeah, Richard didn't know them.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was so much. The partying was so much fun. Reggae Sunsplash was wonderful. Laying down on reggae bed, which was just a piece of cardboard. And being there all night until the sun came. You got the
yeah.
sun splash when the sun came
Yeah, when the
up.
sun
Oh,
splashed
that was-
on you. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was fantastic. We had the partying was wonderful,
Yeah.
really wonderful.
Mhm.
And I tell you what as well, lads, I remember when Richard came for us the first time.
Oh,
remember?
yes, yeah.
He came for us the first
Where did
time.
he take us?
I can't remember where he took us, but remember he came for us. Was him and Buffy and somebody else was there and they come for us.
What was his name? Kenneth? Something
Kevin
like
Barnes,
that.
Kevin Barnes, man, I'm good friend.
Kevin, that's
Kevin
it.
Barnes,
Kevin,
yeah.
And they come for us now, and we're all gonna go out, and we're dressed up in our mini skirt and we whatever, and they breathe a sigh of relief because they say, was it Kevin or Buffy? Their cousin did come from England. And then take them out, then come on, then go up with their long socks. Then
Yeah, we did okay, didn't we?
yeah, no, we dressed like we was going now.
When
We
the one
dressed
I
like we
can
was
turn
going.
Jamaican.
Yeah.
But it would be the way we would dress if we were going.
In the
out.
summer in
In
England.
England, yeah.
But then we was nice and young and slim and
Yeah.
bunches of skirts and everything. Remember?
Yeah. And we went to, I'm just trying to think, there's a famous sound system in Kingston. And we went to a club
Stone
where they
Love.
were. Stone Love,
yeah.
yeah. But then he took us to Stone Love
Yeah.
as well. That was brilliant.
Yeah,
as
Stone Love
well.
around and play same time, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's like we did just get the chance to go everywhere and do everything.
yeah.
And it was just fantastic, really fantastic.
Yeah. Because I tell you, this is not about going to a dance, because the first morning we was there, remember? And Lorna took us for a walk to where them have water.
Yeah.
And as we're walking around, who comes jogging past but Mr. Manley?
Michael Manley.
Yeah.
Okay.
Morning, ladies.
And
Yeah.
she was saying, go and speak to him, Jean. Go and speak to him, Jean. But I was too shy, wasn't I?
Yeah, but he did come. He did say morning, ladies,
Yeah,
and of
yeah.
course we come back and mommy say, in all of my years, me never meet no prime minister yet. And I don't come.
Wanna come and meet celebrity? Yeah.
Yes, celebrity.
Yeah, and that was the first morning we was there.
And prime ministers and so we had we did have a wonderful, wonderful time, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Doing everything, and then the thing is as well, we did go country, and
Yeah, talk about that. Did the country trip look long too? I know them winding. How did that experience so now?
the in the back of the truck,
The pickup truck.
Yeah, we did love going at
the back of the
back
truck.
of the truck.
Yes. But all the way going up to Patty Hill, that was a long ride. That was a long, long ride.
Uh-huh.
And but what was interesting was that the one where we did stop on the way and meet a cousin with Rochelle? No, that wasn't that time, was it?
No.
No. Yeah, but it was good going up there, and the other thing, transport. Remember the bus car, Lance, the bus, and Wesley go step up, step.
Well, what's he say?
Yeah. Wesley says step up, and the
Step up in the bus, step down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wanna step up. Wesley's voice was high.
So his voice was just breaking then, innit? So he had this. Yeah.
It was funny. But yeah, it was so back of the truck. We'd never ridden in the back of a truck before. Open truck and just
we loved it because
we loved
our
it.
preferred method of transport.
And then the bus, the bus experience,
The minibus experience,
Was that when we did go down? We did go to the market.
Yes.
We did go down and market, and somebody did try teeth mommy
bracelet off her hand.
Yeah.
Coronation Market.
Yes, exactly. Yes, we did go down there as well. So it was just I think we were given a really good introduction to every kind of bit of Jamaica. The high life, the low life, the fun life, the tough life. It was everything.
So we went to the beach as well. I remember going to the beaches.
Yeah, we got to Dunn's River. We did go to Ochi. Where else we did go? We did go to Montego Bay.
Yeah, we go Montego Bay. I know we had to party to part through Montego
Yes,
Bay.
We
go to Hellshire Beach as well.
Yeah, that was the beach. That's our beach in Kingston. Yeah. We don't go that.
Beach. Yeah, Lana and Peter did take us to Hellshire Beach.
Yeah. So we did go all over and do everything.
How long did you guys spend in Jamaica?
6 weeks.
Man, that
long.
was like a vacation. Yeah.
Nowadays, you go anywhere for 2 weeks, and that's long. But then, when people used to go back to Jamaica, they used to go for a long period because it was such a big
expense
flight and a big expense. So your investment, it had to be worth the amount of time and money you're putting in it, innit?
Yeah.
So the 6 weeks come and you never get bored at all?
No. You made sure we didn't you, Lance? And food as well. Because I was vegetarian when I came, because I was still with the Rasta. So Sister Gelly used to cook me some really nice food. But then what I liked was, when you guys used to pull up at the roadside and just get fruit. I mean, yam pineapple until it was coming out my ears. Pineapple. It was lovely. But of course, in England, you don't just pull up on the roadside and buy. So that was a wonderful experience, and it was so fresh and delicious and sweet, and the food was wonderful as well because it was all fresh and nice, and
So what? Go ahead.
Now, after the trip, did you feel like closer to Jamaica? Like, did you feel like you were Jamaican at that point?
No.
Why?
Oh, man, okay.
Definitely not.
Why? You don't realize you're not Jamaican?
Because, everywhere we went. No, everywhere we went.
The English girls, weren't we?
Yeah. Everywhere we went, where we would go with family, but everywhere we went, because the first thing, they're going to spot the clothes that you're wearing and know the clothes is not from Jamaica. It's true. That's what they know, right? And of course, and as you're walking past or driving past and you hear them English. And so you kind of it felt strange to me. I think.
Because we've been called the Jamaican kids.
And now
we're
the
English girls,
So again, it's that identity thing, like where do we belong?
Yeah.
So go ahead.
One of the things that happened for me, though, that I have to say it was different. I felt like the thing that I felt like is that I lost my skin color in Jamaica.
What do you mean?
I feel like I took off this heavy cloak of being a black person and just became a person in Jamaica. So that for me was very liberating, but it didn't make me feel Jamaican. It was just more about color than where I was from. Because like Joy said, we were constant, and as soon as we open our mouth as well, people know, we're English. So we were referred to as the English girls.
Yeah, even not much part where you try to talk, them know say you come from Jamaica.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
What's good though is like when you put on the TV, it was all black faces, black people reading the news.
It was funny though.
It was, black presenters.
Yeah.
Because remember, in the UK,
it's all white.
It's all white.
Yeah.
And even now, you'd say you still have, there's more.
There's more, but it's more dominant.
It's still dominated by white people.
I would say, coming to Jamaica, I didn't feel any more Jamaican, but I felt very much more part of my family who was Jamaican.
Yeah.
So I got a very strong sense of having a Jamaican family who I could love and care about, and I felt loved and cared about by them. Because one of the things I think for me also that stood out from it is coming to Jamaica, we were treated extremely well by both sides of our family. And that wasn't always the experience we heard from other people who'd been to Jamaica, who were like us, whose parents came from there and they went back. They didn't always give such a nice story. But for us, we were given things, we were treated well, we were taken everywhere. And so it was a wonderful experience with both sides of our family. So we only had good things to say about Jamaica when we came back, but we didn't feel Jamaican.
So how did that make you feel when you realize you hear about Jamaica from me a little bit? You go back there now, and all of a sudden you say, but hold on, it's almost like on the last between two countries, there's not a place at all.
Yeah. I don't even know what that means for me now,
Yeah.
But for me though, Lance, having like come to America for all these years, and I don't know, maybe because I'm older, it's like, well, you know what, wherever my head lands, it's home. I don't care who lives there. I don't care if it's full of black. I don't care if it's full of white. If that's where I want to be, that's it.
Do you know what I started to say to people a few years ago? I'm a Jamaican seed grown in English soil. That's how I see myself. And I've only been in America 2 weeks, so there's no American influence yet.
Yeah, but you should be able to go anywhere and live your life the way you want to live it.
Yeah.
And not feel that
you have to identify as anything.
As anything, right? Why do you have to identify as anything?
Yeah, that's true, Joy. I agree with that.
That's my view to do, That's my view to it. I don't.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't know Ranchi view on this in terms of like, because Ranchi will have the same problem like you when you go home, and soon as you open her mouth, the man will say, "Yeah, man, a foreigner that So Ranchi, what's your view on that in terms of like? Go ahead.
No, I must say, I want to say when I visited back in 2019, I kind of had the similar where I was like, no, I'm definitely not Jamaican. But when I went back in 2021, I came back from that trip and you couldn't tell me. And I don't know if it was because I had just moved from Florida to Colorado and then went from Colorado to Jamaica, and I spent the week there, and I got to just kind of live with family for the week in Jamaica. It just felt so different. I left and I came back and I was like, I'm fully Jamaican and no one can tell me anything. And so it was just, I don't know, it was just a contrast of experience. And I've definitely felt that before with kind of just I didn't feel Jamaican and I didn't really connect. And I was like, oh, I am just American or a foreigner. But when I came back last time, I was just like, no, I am Jamaican. So despite I was born there, but I lived there for I moved when I was like less than 2 years old. So, and I grew up here, you know. So
I
yeah.
kind of get what you mean, Ranch, because I definitely know that there's parts of me that are Jamaican, but I wouldn't call myself just Jamaican because I have very English parts as well. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I
no,
think that's the thing.
absolutely.
I try and embrace both parts of my experience. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, you know, because when did me and Pete go to Jamaica with Daddy?
Was that, I don't know, 2000 or something?
Yeah. But even, okay, so when Daddy moved to Jamaica and he built a house, and then me and Pet, I got laid off from work, and I said, okay, I need to take a vacation. So me and Pet decided to go and move Daddy into this house. But we were stopping at a hotel first. And every morning we used to go out on the beach. And there was a guy there with the lounge chairs.
Yeah.
And he would never come to us. He went to all the white people and give them lounge chairs. And he wouldn't go to us. Me and Peter fi walk and drag the chairs into the water, then fi drag to and put them up ourselves. And I think it must have been, I don't know if it was near to the end of the vacation.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but we talked to him that morning and he turned around and he said to us, which didn't make sense to me, the reason why he didn't come to us, because we look like the white people then. But he was serving only white people.
Oh.
So it didn't make sense.
Mm.
It just didn't make sense what he was saying. Maybe he thought, okay, these are English people, and he heard a little bit of patois. Oh, no, these are not English people. Who are these aliens?
Confused.
Yeah, who are these aliens? I don't know, but to me that didn't make no sense, and it's like...
Do you know what? I've got a question for Lance. What did you think of your English cousins when they came?
Oh no, man, I love them, man, because I guess when I look good, and that was the main thing for me. So of course, when I was my age, I was 20. Me and Joy about the same age. Joy probably older than me. I was born in 1962, so all I was on the same age group, you know.
So, it's me and you, yeah. I'm 62 as well. You was right.
Yeah.
Right, you know. And you come and just easy to get along with and just eat. And it wasn't stuffy old English people. And it just easy and relax. Laugh a whole heap, enjoy yourself a whole heap and all with them. But I just love that, you know. Just comfortable.
So were you expecting something different when you heard your English cousins were coming?
Come again?
Were you expecting something different when you heard your English cousins were coming?
Not really, you know, because I won't tell you why. 6 years earlier, I know, some cousins had come from England on my father's side. They lived in London.
Oh, all right, yeah.
Right? And it was the same sort of treatment I got at the same way. I carried them all over the place, carried them going to the grill.
Yeah.
I was like that at the time, right? Like, anytime people come from foreign, as I say, I like entertain them and make them feel good, and I just like enjoy myself. You see what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
It never mattered to me. I just like enjoy myself, and you know. So I was kind of, I didn't have no expectation or nothing like that at all. I just say, yes, so cousin come, now we say it go, you know. But I never disappoint at all. I must say.
Thank you.
It was a wonderful. I will never forget that experience, man. 1988. Yeah. I'll never. As long as I live, that was a summer to remember, man. But what's surprising about Jamaica the most in terms of when I come?
What surprised me? I'm trying to think. Was there anything surprising?
What was different? I remember I asked the question this way. When I went to the country, me never liked pit toilet at all. I hated
that.
Yes.
That was shocking. That was shocking, Lance.
So, no, that was something. Me never get used to that at all.
No.
That was a challenge for me when we were countryman. Don't bother ask me. I don't know what man it. I don't know what man that.
That was the scariest part of it, was the pit toilet. And when you lift up the seat and you hear all of the roach them inside. You know what, lads? We didn't use the pit toilet. We went out in the bush.
Yeah.
Well, the bush was my friend too. So yes.
And I'll tell you something though. many years later, when I was working for the government, I had to go to China. I can't even remember what I was doing. I was doing a project that involved China. And I came out, this was before they did the Olympics. So I came out at Beijing airport and I was desperate to go to the toilet because I don't like the toilets on airplanes. And I went into the cubicle and there was a tiled hole in the floor.
Yes, I've heard about that too. I've heard about that, yes.
I'm like, if I had not seen a pit toilet in Jamaica, I wouldn't know what this was.
That's what been shocking, yes.
Because I think I'd have thought, where is the toilet? But it was just this hole in the floor. So it prepared me for Beijing, let's put it like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And what was the driving like in Jamaica compared to the UK?
Oh, that was awful.
Crazy.
No, that was scary. I found that very scary, particularly going up there.
Because there seemed to be no rules and regulations.
Pick, every minute you hear horn and swinging wrong blind corners.
No rules and regulations. If there were driving rules and regulations, nobody obeyed them.
Yes.
Yeah. That's how we felt.
It was a free for all, wasn't it? Yeah.
And what about the music in the car and the sound system then? Or play all about the place? Was that
No, we had that in England. We already had that, so we were used to that.
Only used to that. Okay, the pirate radio system. Them. Okay.
Yeah, because when we were young, all the guys tried to put sound systems together.
Yeah.
Even Joy's husband, Trevor.
Okay, he was one of the pirate. Them remember Shabba song? Them a call us pirate. That's the English team I talk about. Them a call us illegal. Yes. Just because we play what the people want. Yes. That was specifically for the man who run the thing in England because them that try to lock them down. Yeah.
There was we had pirate stations, we had sound systems, all of it,
So, which song you remember when you come to Jamaica in the 80s? Which song did stand out to you and remember? Or which singer, which entertainer? I'm going to put it that way there.
So I like Flower Gun. There was, oh God, I've got it on my phone, you know. See my phone here, I can't even find it.
Who are you talking about? I remember Tinga Stewart in the
Who did sing Love Me Girl Bad?
Yeah, man, that was Flower Gun and Sanchez. I think I Flower
Gun. That's the one I love, Lance. That's mine. That's my song.
But
you even got it on my phone.
Yeah, but I think for us, because we're used to reggae music, the music that we heard wasn't
different.
It
was already in England.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just that we heard newer tunes. That we hadn't heard. But then when we did come back,
they were there by then.
By the time we got back, they were there.
Yeah, because reggae always come to England quick, isn't it?
Yeah. That is true. So would you?
But it was good though, like going to Sunsplash and seeing people like Barrington leaving Levi, wherever
Barrington,
yeah. Yellow Man was there.
Yeah, he was there.
Yellow Man
yeah. Seeing people like that you
see them live was good.
So you had never been to a stage show before you come to Jamaica?
A what?
You had never been to a stage show, one of those stage show before?
I don't think so. No. Oh, what?
No.
When we go up Rising Star? Who was it, Andy? Maxi Priest.
Maxi Priest, Jean, that was Maxi Priest.
But he's English, isn't he? He's
English. Yeah, Maxi Priest from England. Yeah.
I'm just checking because you got your English reggae stars and your Jamaican reggae stars. And obviously Jamaican reggae stars was considered more important, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, more authentic and real and
yeah.
But then you come to know now that you had the best of both worlds.
Yes, we did,
because not everybody likes the English reggae stars, but to us, we're good because our people doing music.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So did anyone drive while I was in Jamaica? Learn to drive?
No,
you man?
No. I would never risk that, Lance. Never.
Even though you wouldn't risk it at all?
No, I think the last time I was in Jamaica was a long time ago. It was 2011, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And my auntie was in Jamaica. My dad said, she leave her car, you can't drive. Me said, no, thank
Yeah,
you.
to that Atlanta. Yeah,
We
yeah,
prefer
yeah.
to get taxi. We
Yeah,
prefer
yeah.
to get a taxi.
Yeah. So when you go Patil for sleep overnight and all them with it, what was it like a sleep overnight in a Patil, in the darkness? A Patil, as many people don't know. Describe what Patil like to the people who might listen to this in terms of say.
It's basic, innit?
You have to get out of the car and walk up the hill to the house. The car
It was-
can't reach up
It
there.
was still wooden on the stilts. It was still wooden then,
Yes.
wasn't it?
Mhm.
I mean, no, Granny Root did have concrete after, but they've got a picture of Joy waving with the open. It looked like, you know, when you see the slave programs with American shacks,
Mm-hmm.
the slave.
Yeah.
That's how it looked to me.
You're right, Dream. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? One of the things that I think we're used to, and I don't know again if it's the Wood family, you know, when everybody bungle up together in a bed and you just catch a spot wherever you can catch it. I feel like it was that same feeling that even though we were in this small 1-room place or 2-room place,
rooms.
everybody, because we're family, you just hang as best as you can hang,
Yeah.
and everybody's happy to be with everybody else.
You come to think of it, I was sleeping at the 2-room, I just say, at the time.
Yeah, yeah. And you don't feel away because we were brought up, wherever you can catch your head, you catch your head. You don't make a fuss about it. You don't act like you're too good for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And outside kitchen, remember that?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. Aunt Milda cooking outside. Yeah, that was wonderful.
And one of my best memories as well of that, because remember my feet.
Oh,
the
yeah.
swollen feet. I think it was the first night Una had gone off somewhere.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I stayed because of
We went to Uncle Sonny.
Yeah, and I stayed. And my best memory was sleeping in the bed with Sister Lily and Granny Ruth. And you know what they did? They put me in the middle. So you know, like when you have a baby and you put the baby in the middle between mommy and daddy so the baby doesn't fall out the bed. And so I felt so protected and so loved because I was in the middle and I had my auntie on one side and my grandmother on the other side.
Oh, you know what? That's the other thing I have to say. Growing up in England, we missed out on the grandmother and grandparents experience. We wouldn't have had the grandparents anyway because both our grandfathers died quite young. But both our grandmothers lived into their 90s, but we got very little time with them. And we'd never met either of them until we came to Jamaica. And as a grandmother now, I realize what we missed.
Yeah.
You know what, Jean? That is so important. As a grandfather myself, I only knew one grandparent, was this Granny Road, right? And I didn't.
Yeah.
Even I live in Jamaica, and she used to live with us sometime. And full disclosure, Granny Road was my favorite. I can't say that because it's full disclosure in terms of that. But she was my mother's favorite. They get along really well, and Mommy never leave her out at all. But being a grandparent, no, I consider it young. I say, we became a grandfather in my 50s, right? I say, it's a special thing to be a grandparent, man.
Yes, it is.
It's a very special thing. It's like, I have 2 grandchildren, man. I love it. I wouldn't change that for the world at all.
Yeah.
I would not change that for the world. But I never knew a grandfather. I didn't know, just like I never knew any at all, you know? Because Mommy, the father died a long, long time.
Yeah, exactly.
And I never know that is father or mother on either side, on daddy's side. I didn't know my grandmother or grandfather on the prince side. So yeah. But let me ask another question though. When you come to Jamaica, when you hear about Duppy before you come to Jamaica, and where you say, what Duppy there?
You didn't know about, we hear about Duppy, but you know, we lived in a haunted house. Because we will tell you that.
You know what?
No, truly. We lived in a haunted house.
What do you mean? When you say Duppy have full house?
I didn't see them. I heard about them. Sonia will tell you she saw them.
Yes, Sonia saw them. And Mommy and Daddy will tell you stories about the
Duppy. Up to now, Daddy will tell you about Duppy.
And Mommy will tell you too.
Yeah.
And Mommy will tell you about that too. So,
my mom said to me when I was young, I used to go at the top of the stairs in Bruford Road and say, Daddy calling me, and my dad wouldn't be in the house. Yes, I'm shocked.
Listen, so when you go patil, you never seen a dope a patil. Come ever sore about that's why I ask, you know.
No, we didn't see any. Mm-mm.
Why? Is there one
No,
there?
but I tell you, experience I had though, and it was in Pembroke Hall. It was in Sister Lily House.
What you did see?
I didn't see anything. Remember one day we went to the beach,
Yeah.
and I think we came back and we had a shower and everything, and I was dead tired, and I went and we laid on the bed.
Yeah.
And I was so thankful because I didn't have Jean one side and Pet the other side. I had the bed to myself. And I dozed off. And then I felt like there was a chair beside the bed.
Yeah.
Remember the chair beside the bed?
Yeah.
And I felt like somebody had come in and sat down on the chair.
Oh, all right.
And I knew it was female.
Yeah.
I didn't see no faces. I just felt like there was somebody there.
Female presence.
Had sat down on the chair and was watching over me, but didn't come to do me no harm, so I just fell asleep. Maybe it was because I was going into sleep, maybe because I was tired. But that's how I felt.
Yeah.
And
All right.
And this a Pembroke Hall when we used to live. I mean, never said that yet. You know.
No, but like I said, I didn't see anything. It was just this
You like felt the presence.
a presence.
Kind of what though? I had that aunt who died in the house, you know.
Well, maybe but that's what I said. And I
Yeah.
just
So when you're saying it, no. But she died in the house in 1980. That is sister,
right.
Aunt Idle. Yeah. She died actually in the house, you know. So
okay.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
but
I never.
you find out who.
Me finally find out who knows.
Yeah.
Right.
Now you see, I wouldn't know, right? Because she'd have probably come in and I say, yeah. But she never got talking about it. She was daddy's sister and she was one of my favorite aunt on daddy's side. Well, she was the only aunt I know because that was the youngest one. So, you know,
Yeah.
Right.
he had older sister, but by the time I became of age, I remember them. His sister had died, Aunt Kitty had died, which I
Okay.
know well. But my story on Duppy, I did afraid of Duppy until I start. Till me turn big man.
Okay.
I when me reach a patil one, I used to sell auto parts at Jamaica, right? I used to go around the country. Lot of lick after I sell the bus 88, after I go back and I sell auto parts. And I go patil one at the night them now, and then we down at the square, right? Cause I know it's about a mile from the square. And you walk all the way up to the house. And it's dark, midnight, and you pass all them grave away pass and say, I say in all, because I remember our uncle grave is there now, our father grave, the grandfather grave, like Powwood, that time mother, older sister, older brother. And our grandfather grave is there. Edwin, Edwin, right?
Yeah.
And but me never seen a dope. I said, this me not have to believe. I talk about me in my 20s and almost 30 years.
Okay.
I'm afraid of Duppy from them time. But from that, Duppy never mean nothing to me. I've never seen a Duppy yet, but they always have the fear in your mind.
Yeah.
They always have the fear in your mind. So yeah, that's why I asked the question, man. If you don't come to Jamaica, but you're not send to see Duppy from England. So that one of the kind I used to the Duppy in a phone house of England. And you come up.
Daddy, sorry, I forgot you. But do you believe in Duppy now?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Nah, man, me dash that. Let me tell you, Ranty, that cure me, I'm a Duppy fear. I walk from the square, go up to the house, and I say, I not see a Duppy, and I say, Duppy no exist. You know understand what I say? That me never business about that again after that. But in a Jamaica, it's a way for control children, you know. In a Jamaican it's a way for tell you, for keep. It's like, if you don't behave yourself, Duppy will come for you.
Yeah.
I don't know if it exists here or no, I never seen one yet, so. But Joy, so this is the one at Calbeck Avenue. I mean,
I didn't say I saw. I said I felt.
you felt, never say see it. Okay.
That's the difference.
Okay.
Mommy will tell you a lot of Duppy stories, so I believe in it personally. But
Even here where we live, right? Exactly. I know what you mean.
yeah, I hear too much from Mommy to not believe in Duppy. So I guess you might be right. It might be like the things to keep kids in order, but yeah.
No, I'm not going to challenge you at all. I'm not going to do that because I say no, that is not my place to do that at all. I saw that work. So Jean and Joy then, in terms of this whole experience now in terms of the Windrush, we started Windrush generation and everything, and what do you think Mom would say in terms of what would Mommy say about looking back all these years? What do you think Mom would say?
She
Your mom,
regrets
Nata.
nothing.
Your mom, yeah. And what?
She regrets nothing.
Yeah.
I think she feel like she did the right thing. I think all the choices she's made in her life, coming to England, obviously when she was so young, is a massive choice. But she don't regret that, and I think, you know, she did do the best she could do in England while she was there with us. So, and you know, I don't know when people emigrate, if them think about what it's going to be like for the children to have these kind of experience. And people don't talk about it that much. I think more now people talking about what it's like not to fit in one place or another. But, you know, often, like you and Jai both say, you know, I don't think we should think of ourselves as having to be this or that. You know, we're all human. We're all here living that experience, and wherever you can do that the best. Because one of the things I'm very in favor of is that people should be able to move around the world to make the best life they can for themselves. And nothing should stop somebody from having their best life.
That's how I feel too. And Joy, you have any, in terms of how you feel now, because you never want to go back to Jamaica at all. Or if you think you'll go back to Jamaica, go live, may I ask you the question, and I ask you the question. You think you'll go back to Jamaica and live?
No, because I never lived there, Nance. That's the thing. I never lived there. Jamaica.
Would you go back to England and live?
I think if I had to, if it was the case that you have to go back, then yes. If it was the case of my choice, then it would be no.
Yeah.
It would be no. And although there are certain things here that I don't agree with and drive me crazy, like the medical situation, I think for me and Trevor, I think we've done so much more than we would have been allowed to do in England. We've got so much further and done so much more than we ever would have been able to do in England. Because in England, again, it's the institutions that stop you from doing things.
I wouldn't live in Jamaica at all. I have to say I did flirt with the idea after I'd been there. But the only thing of interest to me in Jamaica now is my dad, because he still lives there. And I think once he's gone, I don't even see a reason to go there at all, actually. Because like most of our family now on my mom's side is in America or England. And I feel Jamaican in the sense of the experience I've lived from being the child of Jamaican parents, but nothing else. No, I wouldn't go and live in the country. I even like Florida, because I feel like it's the best of combination of England and Jamaica. You've got like the developed good roads, good water system, good TV, all of that, but you've got the sunshine and the slower pace of life than England.
So yes, if you win the lotto tomorrow, you wouldn't go back to Jamaica, go live.
Go live? No. I might buy a beach house there for holidays, but that's it.
And why you think that is anyway? Why you think, when we challenge you a bit, why you think you wouldn't, what the main reason that stopped you from going back to Jamaica?
Like Joe said, I've never lived there. I've never had a life in Jamaica. But you know what, Lance, your question is good, because there are other places I would want to go. So why not Jamaica? I don't know. That we've had fantastic holidays, but I've never seen it as a place that's home. I don't know.
But America, you just move here and you're comfortable here. It sounds like already. It's like, what a difference. And I just challenging you a bit to think a little outside of the box to say.
Yeah.
Not I got your question. I challenge your mind in terms of say, because I have my views on that thing, but go ahead.
So when I come to America, everything feels like I've got all the comfort and development of being in England. Do you know what I mean? So like when I go to my dad's in Jamaica, he lives in the countryside in St. Elizabeth. sometimes the light gone off and you have to go to your bed because you now got come back on that night.
Yes, that happens here.
Oh, does it? Nobody told me that before I came here. Oh,
it just takes a little thunderstorm and everything's gone.
Yeah. But you have that in England. Sometimes there's no trains running because of the snow, or the other day we had water problems because there was a burst pipe on the A2. But it doesn't feel like it's a constant threat. In Jamaica, I feel like there's a constant, like, something's going to go wrong at some point and I won't be able to be comfortable in life.
Yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
Whereas in America, I feel like it's all set up properly, like it is in England, and everything's going to run efficiently, and even if it breaks down, it will be fixed quickly. They won't tell you they've no idea, and it's going to be days. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. The infrastructure, challenging. Yeah. I got you.
Yeah, so I feel like all the infrastructure of England is here, but then I get the sunshine and slower pace of life
in Florida. Yeah. I got you.
So would you go back and live in Jamaica?
You're challenging me now. Yes, I was thinking about that. But you know what?
Or would you, Arancha, would you go back and live in Jamaica now?
I think it'd be like kind of the same thing with like, I don't really have like, I've never lived in Jamaica. I don't really have like a life in Jamaica. I've only ever been, I think the longest I've been was like a week. So I think it'd be hard to judge, and just like with the infrastructure and the institutions, it just, I'm just so comfortable and used to here in the United States. I don't think so. I did actually have a friend though who like lived here and grew up here in America and then moved to Jamaica, and she's back now, but she really enjoyed it, and that was like a fulfilling experience for her. So I don't know. Can never say never. I still have time. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're.
And my answer is, let me tell you how I look on it, right? It's not a cop-out answer, but it's like me I say, more Jamaicans, or as much Jamaicans live outside of Jamaica as live in Jamaica, right?
Yes, I've heard that.
That's what I'm saying to you. And with the new, because we are talking now, we are 3 different places in the United States, right? We're talking online, and I say, I don't know why we do not have to identify Jamaica as home in terms of, say, I think Jamaica, the new home for the future might be online.
Yeah.
If what I'm saying is like that is the future in mind. As I look on it, like me I say, it's not gonna matter where you live, you know. It's not going to matter where you live. Just like you say, when you go to Jamaica and losing the colour certain, it's like me I say, it's not gonna matter after a while, because the only colour is like, it's if you're efficient or you can operate online. Online. That's what we see. It's like, because we are connected with each other now, and we are talking about history and things that happened from the 60s and the 70s from all different culture. Right, and a rancher just come here, and we can connect with each other. And I say, the infrastructure, the technology allow that, right? And you're right. I don't know how, but the challenge, to answer your question directly, it would be a challenge, because one of the other things for me, we go back to Jamaica, right? I don't know about you now. Is that when we go to Jamaica, I don't know, ESA. Well,
Lance, you are so right. You are so right. My dad does not have AC in his house. And I went, remember I said I wouldn't go in August again? I did one. And you know what? Pet phoned me from England. And she said, "Hi, Jean, how are you enjoying the oven?" Because it was like...
Yes. The last couple of times I went and seen a Kingston with a Patrick City, I may tell you, the door and the window and everything open. I don't care if any thief come or not like that at all. The place a burger bar and grill, you know. Them can't drag off all them want, drag off of me. But me I say, the heat. But so what, when you live here so for so long, you know, you get used to the comfort of living in an air conditioned place. It make a big difference, man. So that to me, that is the main. And apart from that, infrastructural challenge in terms of like everything else you want to talk about. I agree. It would be a challenge. But I find it either comfortable more living in Jamaica than Ireland, because I grew up there. We could have fit in back easy and Ireland with it. But you know, as I say around to me, right off, I never say never at all. I wouldn't do that, you know. So but it's a reasonable question. It is a reasonable question.
Yeah.
Anyway, ladies, believe it or not, you know, I've been here for 2 hours talking, and it's like, I didn't
Oh
ask.
wow. Okay. So it's
It
time
just
for
doesn't
I
feel
didn't
like
ask
2
him a
hours,
question.
does it?
I didn't have a question.
Memories don't feel like 2 hours.
No, it doesn't. No.
No.
I didn't ask. It's not like a question and answer thing at all. It's a conversation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So, on the idea of this conversation, where I think other people would be interested to come tell them stories.
I would think so. I've enjoyed
Yeah.
it. So, and you know what? I think you should. I'm going to mention it to Sonia. You know why? Because she was the sister that didn't come with us in
man. Never love
88.
get her perspective, man. Definitely.
Yeah,
Right.
because you know what as well. The thing that I realized when I was saying to Mummy today, the thing I realized when I thought about it is Sonia had a different introduction to Jamaica because she was all country. She went to St. Elizabeth and Hanover. She stayed in the country, and she has totally fallen in love with Patty Hill and being in the countryside. And whenever she talks about it, that's where her heart is. So she's a good one to talk to get a different perspective on it.
It will be interesting to get for her perspective. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Anybody's perspective is welcome. Yeah.
But I'm sure there's lots of people, like you say, as many Jamaicans living outside of the country as living in. And, you know, they'll have kids and, you know, it would be interesting. You could, you know, gather a whole collection of stories.
Yeah, I want to. And believe it or not, it's not a Jamaican thing. I want all the stories from in the Caribbean countries, and I'm not going to call them a small island.
Yeah.
All of the islands in the Caribbean, I would name them off if they want me to, I will, but not tonight here. But yeah. And when this time I call them a small island, like what the Jamaican them dub.
Yeah. I've actually got a friend now from Trinidad who I met when I went to Colombia. How long ago did I go to Colombia? About 5 years ago, I went to Colombia for 10 weeks. And he's now in France, so I'm sure he'd be interesting. He was telling me he'd never experienced racism till he went to France, and one of the other students refused to speak to him because he was black. Yeah.
And his story is like yours. His parents went to England in the 60s.
No, he's actually just somebody who's moved there. So yeah, it's a different thing. Huh?
He moved from. What is his story like?
He's gone from he's from Trinidad, but he's doing a sports course for 2 years in France, in Paris, and he's experiencing life outside the Caribbean for the first time.
Okay, he's just a first-time immigrant then. Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah.
But there's lots of people who've got the same experience as us.
Because you even have seen that Pauline and
all our cousins.
Yeah, definitely.
Jamaica, and she had to completely.
Oh yeah, we've got our cousins who came to Jamaica, who hated it and never come back.
Yeah,
never went back. So there's different ideas about
experience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I think carry on trying to get these views, Lance. Definitely.
No man, I want to get as much further as I can capture, man. I want to get that much.
Yeah.
But before we go, I want to ask.
Yeah.
We can go around the table and ask. Is there, and you first, Joy, is there any question or any topic where you think, or any question I could ask, or any topic that you want to bring up that I didn't bring up at all? Anything that you want to bring up?
I can't think of it. I can't think of anything right now. But I'm sure if I find something, I will, send you a text. Or
that's all. That once I finish tomorrow morning, get up and say, Jesus, I forget to tell Lance that story. Yeah. And you, Jane, any question or any topic that you want to bring up that I didn't bring up at all?
No, I can't think of it. I think I've asked you as I've gone along if I've thought of anything. So probably same answer as Joy. If anything comes up, I'll say, "Oh, Lance, blah 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 blah." So
definitely. And you, Ranji, any question or topic that I could have asked, or anything surprising about this discussion? Anyway, may I ask this first, Ranji. Any revelation that you didn't know before?
I feel like because I did some research before on like the initiation, so like the racism wasn't like shocking. Just I don't know. It's like always more interesting to like hear firsthand stories of it than just like know that racism existed during that time. So I just want to thank you guys though, honestly, just for like sharing this story. I really enjoyed the conversation and just like hear firsthand like what you guys went through and all the things that you did and that transfer from England to Jamaica. So thank you all. Yeah.
Thank you, Randy.
Let me ask a last question then, because this is the
Yeah.
last question. And you for Jean, how it make you feel? I bring up back all the memories. I go back to memory lane, your Jamaican, your English experience. How does it make you feel?
Just it's I don't know. It's I wouldn't say it's good or bad. It's just been my life. Do you know what I mean? So, and even though there's been bad experiences, it's not something I carry around with me and think, because I don't think it's made my life any worse. If anything, I think those are the sorts of challenges that's made me who I am. So, yeah, it's just been, I think I've really enjoyed the experience as well. So it's been fun to kind of revisit things, and even when they've not been such good experiences, they're still part of what makes me who I am.
Yeah. And you, Jean, how it make you Joy? Yeah. How it make you feel?
You know, when we was younger, people always used to get mixed up. They call Joy Jean and Jean Joy. Right? For me, I think it's always good to talk about your memories and your experience, because your experiences are what make you up as a person. And like Jean said, you don't hang on to those, don't make those, especially bad experiences, affect you, because if you go by that, it would drive you crazy. I think one thing as well is hearing the slight differences between sort of Jean's experience of something and my experience of something, like the cricket thing, because she was indoors watching cricket because she was sick. When she indoors, I'm outdoors playing with everybody else, so I didn't, so those slight differences we never talked about, and it didn't seem like any, we didn't even think about it then, to have those slight differences and to know that we've come through all of that. I know something, we may still face challenges, we may still face racism and all that thing, but you know how to handle it.
Yeah.
Now, because of your experiences, you know how to.
We've never let it stop us do anything we want to do, have we?
Yeah.
Although them almost called the police, can remember next to nothing.
Yeah.
Remember?
Oh yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
So it's like racism is not going to go away in a day. It's not going to go away in a week or whatever. But it's because now older, we know how to handle those in a way that is not going to get us arrested and locked up by the police like when we was young. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about the good memories and talking about being with family. Because, when we were growing up, it was this small nuclear family. And then, you meet the Jamaican lot and you come here and you meet even more. There's more to meet here, Jean. There's more to meet here.
Yeah.
And now that we come from a very but a big family of people, and no matter whether you meet them for the first time or the last time, you always get a warm welcome.
Yeah, that's true.
And talking about family, before I ask you for a closing remark, how does, and you first, Jean, your family feel, like your children them feel about Jamaica? What are they?
Oh God, now you're going somewhere else. That's a whole discussion, lads. Because, well, funnily enough, my children, their dad is half Jamaican, half English, and two of them speak Patois, one doesn't at all. They all like Jamaican food, but don't necessarily cook it much. And one thing I did do, and we all did, is we brought all our kids to Jamaica about 10 years after we first came to Jamaica, because we all thought it was important that they also
got that experience.
know about Jamaica. And they all listen to reggae music sometimes, as well as hip hop and what R&B and all of that. So they are definitely more diluted versions of Jamaicans than we were, but they all know that's their part of their roots. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the part of the culture and the feel. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think when we did that for them and took all of our children there, they had the same experience that we had.
They had so much fun.
Yeah. And they did everything.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And
it was a fantastic trip for them.
So they have that memory of Jamaica as well.
Yeah.
They have good memories of Jamaica. That's good.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I never sorry, Ranch, you were saying something?
No, I disagree.
Yeah. I never remember for asking that. What is the difference in food like in Jamaica? The taste of the food in Jamaica as opposed to England. The same Jamaican food. What was the taste difference like? Would it make a difference when it cook?
I don't think cook. I think the fresh food, like I said, the fresh fruit.
Okay.
It was much tastier, sweeter, more authentic.
More variety.
Yeah, and more variety. And what was it? Was it sour sap we was introduced to that we'd never had before when we first came to Jamaica?
I mean, sour
so
sap
there was some stuff we hadn't heard of.
And the fact that you could go and pick a breadfruit and roast it right there and then.
Yes.
It's not something that we had.
No.
You know what
but
I mean?
also, do you remember they went and killed a goat?
Uncle Tommy, yes. And Wesley, yes. And they said, invited us to come out and watch. We said no.
Yeah. So there were differences in how food was
prepared. Yeah.
Procured is the right word. As well as tasted. So that was a different experience. Yeah.
Ranchi, I've never seen a goat get killed in terms of like.
No, I saw when I was, I think 12 or 11. We went down.
Oh no, I haven't. Yeah.
2010, 2011. We went to country once, and I saw it then. So that was shocking.
Yes.
And I was pretty young too. I was like only 11 or 12. So.
Yeah, but just going back to your question, Lance, about our children. Like I said, after we did that, Tanya, my eldest, because remember she went back by herself. Remember?
Yeah, she came back to Jamaica. Yeah, she went back to Jamaica.
She went back to Jamaica and she stayed with her granddad. I remember she and what Rice on name again? Benton. Yeah. And she had the time of her life because her cousin there took her everywhere and they did everything together. Yeah. So it's like, so to me, she would be one that would go back to Jamaica again and again, not to live, but
to visit.
To visit and be there.
Even my grandson has went to Jamaica with his father and Mari.
Oh, yeah,
it was one of his best trips. It was his 16th birthday present to go to Jamaica. So it's still considered an important thing.
Yes.
Even though, he's the grandson of somebody that was born in England.
Yeah. And still a certain heritage. Same way. Yeah. No, that's good. That's good to hear. And I think that's what the future is, isn't it? Like, our grandkids, them, you want, and I still insist, is eventually, it will come to a time like the Jamaican community, both here and abroad, become one because of the online where we can meet. That's the future to me. It's almost like you develop an online community where you can communicate and talk to each other, and it's like it might make the home country in Jamaica become better because we're more accountable if that are the case, But we will see. Everything starts with the conversation we have, man. And just
it does.
The people, because I think more Jamaicans live outside of Jamaica than live in Jamaica, and they might have more influence than they think, but it's not organized and structured now in a certain way. I'm saying not politically. Just people start, just like your children, that go home back without you are telling them to go, and your grandchildren. That's the sort of thing matter, but them never leave out them roots at all. So that is that's very good. That's very good. So, Anyway, so any closing remarks, ladies? And you first, Joy. Any closing remarks before I close out the program?
I will just say thank you for inviting me to this conversation, even though I was in last minute. Last minute. And like I said, it's always good to talk, and hopefully we can catch up soon, whether it's online or in person or whatever which way it is. So thank you again.
Yeah, man, you're welcome. And Jean, any closing remarks?
Yeah, same thing. Thank you from me. It's been, you know what, it's always wonderful to connect. And I think the main thing, like I said before, for me was that I left Jamaica knowing that I was part of this big, wonderful Jamaican family. So having the conversation and revisiting that and spending time again with that Jamaican family is wonderful. So thank you both, you Lance and Arancha as well. Brilliant.
Yeah, and Arancha, any closing remark before I close out the program?
No, I guess like thank you guys both for just coming on here and speaking with us, and even thank you Dede also for just like inviting this conversation and bringing forward this, because I don't know, I think it's super important to just tell these histories. So I'm glad we're able to do it tonight.
Yeah, man. So ladies, Joy Fannell and Jean Foster Wood, and yes, we surname I Wood because we come from the root.
Yeah,
Right.
Our mother's side, yes. Our grandmother name was Rootwood. I could talk it out, right? And my daughter, Arancha Prince. It has been a pleasure. And I'm happy that we can meet up and talk about this story. And we invite anybody who want to come tell them stories about them parents. And the parents are welcome as well. Parents, children who grew up in the UK or anywhere and just want to come tell them stories. And cousins or anybody who live, want to just come and tell them story of going over these stories. That would be a wonderful thing. I thank you both all of you for coming and spend the time. And this is all about family. It's almost like we are going to write our own history. At time we start write our own history. And this is a beginning to say, boy, just put our own oral history out there that people can hear the story them. So thank you both all for coming. Both Eugene and Joy and Arancha. Thank you for coming helping me out tonight here. And God bless all the way. And God bless that great country of Jamaica where we all identify with, no matter where we cuss it. Nobody mustn't cuss it in front of it. Right?
Thank you, Lance.
Yeah, man. Enjoy. Have a good night.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Good night,
Yeah,
y'all.
man. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Expatriate Memories. My name is Lance Prince, and I'm delighted to be your host and for this opportunity to extend a sincere invitation to you, wherever you may be across the Caribbean diaspora, in the UK, Europe, Africa, Caribbean, or the Americas. This is where you can, for the foreseeable future, come and share stories about the immigration experience, whether as a principal or a pioneer or someone close to them, or who has in any meaningful way been impacted by the migration of family and associates. Over the past century, our diaspora, spirited by the agoracy of 1,700 plus pioneering immigrants from Jamaica and other Caribbean colonies, who in June 1945 were carried by HMT Empire Windrush to England, has been a melting pot of diverse experiences, various cultures of new arrivals and relationship with host countries. What we call the Windrush generation extend from that spectacular arrival at the Tilbury Dock to the passing of the British Nationality Act. Within the memories of those individual experiences, we shall, as we expand our participation, recognize that there are unique qualities in each personal story, and that every single one of us contributes equally to the overall distinctive character of the diaspora. It would be really good if great-grandparents, parents, their children, and grandparents would take this opportunity to share such memories, and by so doing, enrich our knowledge and understanding of the immigrant's journey, how we adapted to life in the adopted country, and how we always look back with a bit of nostalgia, but with great care and concern for those that for multiple reasons were initially left behind. We are hoping that this series will be enjoyed by as many of the millions included in the diaspora as possible. But success depends on two factors. The first is that we must be truly inclusive in the way we operate. Secondly, we have to commit ourselves to active participation, in particular, a willingness to mutually share our memories through this platform. Our model is definitely not a school concert scenario with a passive audience entertained by a couple of performers. For this project to be successful, all of us who hear the call must commit to sharing the memory of our experiences. You can start right now by letting us know at expatriatememories@gmail.com of your desire to join in conversations, touching on your immigration journey and experiences that flowed from that. Also, if as we settle into this new venture, you have any comments or suggestions that will improve the reach and tone of our product, we invite you to contact us by email. Thank you very much for your continuing support and encouragement.